They've spent the summer dreaming about getting back on the track, thinking of how they could improve on last year, and remembering who they have to pay back. And now it's the time to make it all right, around one of the toughest circuits they'll take on all season. It's on. Kim James off in the fence and around he goes. You look at Harris, last corner.
Oh, Noonan around into the turn.
He gets cleaned up on the way through. Oh, bang. It feels like trouble is brewing. It's round one of the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. Well, it's hard to believe that it's been 12 years since the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series first roared into life here on the streets of Adelaide in 2001. It's come a long way since then. The cars are 10 seconds a lap faster, but the racing is still aggressive and tight. There's 16 Fords and 16 Holdens. It's a full field and one of the most popular support categories at the V8 Supercars Championship events. It all begins again for 2013 here today. There's familiar names, the likes of Ryle Harris. The reigning champion looks to go back-to-back this year. Then there's a whole host of rookies making their debut in both the V8 Ute Series and here on this tough Clipsal track.
In all, there will be 7 rookies among the new faces joining the series full-time, including former Dunlop Series driver Elliott Barber and Shannon's Supercar Showdown winner Jesse Dixon. The newcomers don't have to look far for inspiration. Last year, Chris Walton won on his debut at the track, then went on to win the Rookie of the Year title.
If you can win here, it's a good start to the year. It gives you a lot of confidence to keep going through the year. And it's a good starting point because you know where everyone's sort of sitting, the speed they got, how well they can drive the cars around. So if you can do good here and then carry it, you're well on your way.
Last year's runner-up in the championship, David Cedars, also has an impressive record at Adelaide.
I debuted here as most rookies do, and I was on pole, and this pesky new rookie turned up and he's on pole, then won the round, and everyone didn't like me after that. Not many people talked to me.
The young drivers may need to look out for an experienced campaigner, with 2 times Bathurst winner Tony Longhurst ready to give the regulars a shake-up. And preparing for his 300th race, Gary Baxter has renewed enthusiasm and could spring a surprise.
With the car going so well, we've got this new engine which is absolutely flying. The car's handling magnificently. I don't know, I can do another 300.
Ex-V8 supercar driver Nathan Pretty was in the hunt for the title last year and will leave nothing to chance in the search for success this time around.
More hungry, I guess, been for 2 years in it. That now the 3rd year I've got to really go for broke, and I'll be putting the elbows out from now, round 1. Let's bring it on.
Ryle Harris used a successful mix of aggression and point scoring to win last year's championship, but knows he'll have his work cut out if he's to go back-to-back.
I think everyone's probably lifted their game in the off-season, but you know, we're pretty confident with the package we've got. Adelaide have been on the podium the last 3 years here, I think, so you know, obviously we've got a long year ahead, so same thing again, just use my head, but you know, elbows out at the same time.
No one knows just who will leave round 1 on top and have a head start in the race towards this year's championship. But one thing's for certain, it's a brand new year, and lining up on the grid for race 1 will be 16 Ford and 16 Holdens ready to rumble.
Don't move a muscle. Season 2013 for the V8 Utes is about to start after the break on the streets of Adelaide. Cars on the grid, ready to go. First race of 2013, and the Milwaukee Power Tools Commodore of Nathan Pretty has taken pole position for the opening round of the championship. And would you believe it, he's won races in this series, but Pretty has never claimed the Armour All Pole Award until now. He picks up $1,000. Not sure about the hat selection though, James Moffat.
He looks like he's about ready to go fishing, not ready to saddle up on pole position for the opening round of the V8 Utes this year.
I think he's going fishing for a race win. That's what he's doing. Let's have a look at the way that they line up for race 1. David Cedars will be on the front row of the grid. He's got a sensational record on the streets of Adelaide. 3 poles in the last few years. Elliott Barber on debut and has qualified 3rd.
fastest rookie, so fantastic job for him. Jesse Dixon, the Shannon's winner from last year, he's off row 8 alongside the veteran Charlie O'Brien.
Finished third here in a BMW in 1985. I think we're about 2 between us. But have a look at the list. It keeps running. Charlie Kovacs Jr. starts from 24th. Troy Dontis, he and twin brother Craig competing this weekend. Matthew Nolan, former Australian jet ski champion, swaps to the V8 Utes. It's going to be choppy. It's race 1 of 2013. Cedars is a little slow away. Kim Jane has got the great start, but he's got nowhere to go.
Kimbo, he started the year off fantastically well, but it's Cedars who can't carry that momentum into turn 1, and Pretty leads the field into turn 4 for the first time. Amazed that we got all 32 Utes through the centre chicane.
Settle, James. We haven't got them through the first lap yet, mate. This is a little bit disastrous. It's nose to tail. Down at turn 4, we're looking at Jack Ellsgood in the Fuchs Falcon. That's Ryan Hansford to the right. And that's contact. We're on board with Craig Donnis. Vogue Financial in-car. It's really busy in this opening lap. Out in front, though, Nathan Pretty leads the way. David Cedars leads the chasers. A little bit of a margin back there already from those two. Kim Jane, Gary Baxter, veterans of the Ute category, now back on board with Craig Donnis, lining up a move on Elliot Barber.
So Barber, he started off P3, so he's had a bad start, but these V8 Utes into turn 8 for the first time. They move around through there, but Dontis, he's having a look up the inside, but so is Barber. So up the inside of Ellsgood into the hairpin. New colours for Ellsgood on that Falcon this year.
And Jack's a former round winner here back in 2007. Oh, the car park's beginning. Everyone's wide at turn 9. But I've got to say, for the first race of the season, for the first lap, not too bad.
We've only seen a bit of elbows out style racing, so we need to give these boys a bit of a brief. We expect more from these guys.
On board, NZ in-car, Chris Walton, the round winner here on the streets of Adelaide last year, Rookie of the Year. He slipped last year. He really faded in the second half of the year, finished 7th in the championship, but it's Nathan Pretty who leads the way. This Commodore just looks fantastic. New colours for season 2013, and lots of good young drivers coming into this category who are going to really spice it up this year, but at the moment, the veterans are going well. Jane, Baxter, Gary in his 300th all-time Ute race start. He says he's going to give it away at the end of the year, but why should he when he's running at the front?
Well, if he keeps going like this, he might have to change his mind. He's got the reigning series champion and Ryle Harris right behind him, so he's doing a good job so far in this opening race.
On board, Andrew Fisher, Jesus Falcon. They've worked hard in the off-season to put together the program to be here. The X-Force in-car as he chases Craig Donnis. This is Adam Marjoram in the Auto 1 Commodore. He's in this car for the full season. They're not running the wildcard entry that we saw last year. Adam's a young emerging rookie, 19 years of age from Perth, but he's in the pits, and Cedars is already starting to apply the pressure to the Milwaukee Commodore.
Kim Jane trying to buy in on the action too up the front of the field. So solid start from all these guys, but Cedars, he certainly has form around the streets of Clipsal, has always been strong in that Falcon, and he'll definitely be doing all he can to get by Pretty.
This is still going. Fisher just about pushing Dontis on the run back into the racecourse section. Fisher's had great history here. He was on the podium last year. He was second in 2010. He's keen for a move. He's not quite in the gap though there, but he looks like he's got pace.
And Dontis was awake to it there. Went slightly defensive into turn 14, the last corner on this Adelaide Parkland circuit. But Fisher, he's certainly hungry to get past that thirsty Commodore.
And Dontis had one of those weird things happen in qualifying. He hit the fence. That's not weird. Oh, he's got a drama here, though, running wide on the exit of the chicane. He actually had the steering wheel come off in his hand in qualifying. Not a good look.
Certainly not a pleasant feeling around the concrete canyon that this is at Clipsal, but Fisher, he'll be happy to see the back of Dontis now. He's got some clear road. He'll be concentrating on some nice, clean laps and extending that gap.
This part of the circuit is all 90-degree turns, left and right. It's all about rhythm and flow, and Craig Donnis has got flow. Unfortunately, it's overflowed down to turn 4 in the escape road in the Thirsty Camel Commodore. Now, maybe there was some contact here that has caused a drama. He's through there okay, so there's clearly something else going on.
Maybe that's the contact with Adam Marjoram in the Auto 1 Ute. So that's possibly why we see him in pit lane now.
Have a look back here. The Black Falcon, Ryle Harris, reigning champion, is through to third. Kim Jane next to the queue. He's hit the tyre bundle. He's off the road. He's in the fence. And he bounces back
Watch
in the
out.
middle. Left, right. Get away, get out of there. Oh, he escapes. He was so lucky. Elliot Barber did a great job. Nearly ploughed straight into the back of the Bob Jane Team Arts Commodore, but that car's jumped.
That is not the way you want to start off your championship. So we'll have to have a replay. Thumbs up from Kimbo, so he's all right, which is good to see. A lot of contact with that tyre wall and big damage. So was there a bit of contact from the back here? Oh, yeah, there was. But Kimbo was already starting to lose it. And a bit of experience here. He knew that he was in trouble, tried to get it off the racing line as quick as he could.
And this is what he's done. Left front hits the tyre bundle. There it is. It's broken the left front steering, so the car lands. It's already out of control. Such was the air. Walton's innocent there. That's not his fault.
Yeah, Kimbo was going to be out of the race anyway. He just probably got a bit more damage than what he would have liked to have. But disappointing for him to start the year off in this fashion.
The car has swapped preparation in the off-season to Williams Race Tech. Wayne Williams and the crew have plenty of work to do. The safety car is out on the streets of Adelaide. Kim Jane is a retirement. We're going to restart when we come back. We're back off and running. It's a dash to the checkered flag in the first race of the first round of the Auto 1 V8 Utes Series, protected by Armour All. Just 2 laps to run. And it's all about chasing down Nathan Pretty and getting through that first chicane where there's plenty of clean-up material from Kim Jane's crash.
But Pretty, he's done a perfect job so far. Obviously, as we spoke about, drama's here.
Troy Donis in the fence, and judging by the left front damage, I reckon he's done a Kim Jane. I reckon he's got the tyre bundle and it's damaged the steering and he's pulled out. So that'll turn that section into a yellow flag area. No passing around there.
Which is actually critical because you need to be able to set up your pass into turn 4 by getting a good run through turn 1 and 2. And look at Cedars though, he is right on the back of Pretty in the Milwaukee Commodore. He's going to have a look up the inside in the hairpin, but Pretty deep under brakes, holds him off so far.
And Cedars has to be careful because the reigning champion Ryle Harris is ready to drive through the door if he leaves it open now. Just hearing from race control, this one will be just cut 1 lap short, so if you don't get Nathan now, you never will.
And the pressure certainly is on Pretty. He's got 3 Falcons breathing down his neck. Can one of them pull a move into the last corner?
Well, we're about to find out. Here we go. Final turn. Checkered flag awaits. Harris is the one. He's the one making the lunge. He shoves Cedars out of the way. He stole a championship from him last year. He steals second from him. He's beaten him up already. Pretty takes race 1 and claims Holden's first Ute race win here on the streets of Adelaide since 2011.
What a finish, though. Great move by Ryle Harris in the last corner. Probably caught David Cedars a bit unaware there, and he slipped through for second, but still plenty of action in the opening race of the Auto 1 V8 Utes. Replay here of Dontis into the tyre wall, basically where Kim Jane went in.
I reckon he'll need some rare spares as well for that Commodore because it's hit the wall pretty hard. His brother Craig, though, had a tough run too. He ended up down the escape road and was classified 29th. Pretty wins from Harris, Cedars, Walton, Baxter. The rookies were in there too. Elliot Barber, the best of them, 7th, and Ryan Hansford rounds out the top 10.
Well, Nathan, you wanted the Holdens to dominate here. It's been a Ford track and you've done it.
Yeah, look, it's awesome. The guys have done a fantastic job, really, and culminating right through from the start of the year back at the workshop and all the rest of it. And we've been working pretty hard and had a couple of test days for a change before coming here. And, you know, with the parity side of things, it's actually, it helps us a lot. Yeah.
This year's series has attracted 7 rookies from various backgrounds who quickly need to get a handle on racing these V8 Utes.
I come straight from Formula Ford and about the only one in the whole field that's never driven a tin top till the first session just then. You just got to get the weight over the front wheels and get it to turn and then get on the power.
Came from Porsche GT3 Cup last year. Big tyres, wings, aerodynamics, into a Ute with, you know, semi-slick tyres. I'm also going to be racing on street circuits like Adelaide this year, and that's massive, you know. Lower grip, and there's walls everywhere, and you've got to try and avoid them.
I've Formula Ford and DVS last year. You're always on your game in these because you're always chasing them, you're always sliding. So they're a lot of hard work, so it's actually been harder than what I thought it would be. They definitely make you work for it.
Some newcomers have spent time behind the scenes working with teams as mechanics or engineers. Armed with inside technical knowledge, it might just give them an edge.
I've learned a lot about the cars, just being a part of it, and a lot about the data and the onboard footage, and pretty much how to extract the most speed out of a race car at any track.
One of the biggest things is actually having good feedback about what the car's doing on the track. So trying to get that right balance of the car, front to rear, side to side, making sure that all of the suspension settings are sort of working the way they're supposed to and working towards your style of driving.
Can make the car come off the turn real good, but it might understeer going in, and everything's a compromise, and every action has a reaction, and just trying to find that fine balance in the car, but talking about and doing it is certainly another thing.
Matthew Nolan is a world away from his former profession as a jet ski racer, where he was ranked top 6 in the world.
The hardest thing for the Utes, I think, is going to be my start position. In the jet ski race, we start like a motocross, so we start all in a straight line, and it's first to the first turn. So yeah, starting back, anywhere back off the front line is going to be very different for me. So yeah, trying to come through traffic when I can is going to be the hard thing.
For more info, head to the V8 Utes website.
Time for race 2 of the weekend, and it's the reverse grid race. So Nathan Pretty was given the task of picking out the number. He drew number 9, so he goes to 9th. Pole position goes to Jesse Dixon in the Heyman Reese Commodore. Ryan Hansford starts alongside, but James, a few penalties handed out. Ryle Harris was pinged 10 spots for that last corner move on David Cedars in race 1. I'm a bit surprised.
And so am I, Noons. I thought that was a pretty good move by Ryle. He caught Cedars clearly napping into the last corner. There was a bit of rubbing, but hey, that's what we've come to love about V8 Ute racing, isn't it?
I've seen some far harsher moves made. David Cedars was also penalised, not for that incident. You see him there. He starts 26th. He was pinged for passing under yellow flags, which is a no-no, slap wrist. Don't pass under yellow flags wherever you are. Kim Jane is out for the weekend. That car is too badly damaged. So Ryan Hansford and Jesse Dixon on the front row, Andrew Fisher and Jack Elsgood on row 2, Elliot Barber and Reece McNally in the Stratco Commodore start from row 3. This race of all on a weekend is usually the spicy one because you've got fast guys coming through. Barber looked like he missed a gear there, and Walton, who is noted for making up lots of ground in these races, already pounces.
But it's Dixon who leads the field through the centre chicane for the first time and on the run up Wakefield Street into turn 4. So far, so good. But here we go, Jared McLeod up the inside.
And a car swap for Jared in the off-season. That's the ex-Chris Pither Ice Break Coffee Commodore from a couple of years ago. He's had 2 test days. He says, we are 200% better prepared than this time last year. How about Walton trying to get down the inside on Gary Baxter? Hansford shoving Jesse Dixon. We've only got to lap 1.
Oh, and that still goes on with Walton and Baxter. Run very wide onto the back, straight out of turn 7. But have a look at these Utes. Just straight over the exit curb.
You wouldn't go doing that in your Norton Nissan Ultima, would you?
Certainly no way to treat a Nissan Ultima, but these V8 Utes are built for it. And have a look at Fisher now up the inside into the hairpin on Hansford.
And
Walton, big lunge up the inside.
Through on McNally. Hansford wide, he's up over the curb, and the car's buck and dive there, just trying to get back onto the road. But what that allows is young Jesse Dixon to skip away. Now, this is the ex-Warren Millett car and the Wake Up crew, and with Jesse, remember, yes, he won the Shannon Supercar Showdown last year and made his V8 debut at Bathurst. That's Rhett Noonan. No relation to me. If he wins, he will be. But have a look at this. It's already on. Walton gets into the back of Hansford. It's his teammate.
Walton is certainly not mucking around in this race. He is into it from the get-go, and he's already progressed up through the field very nicely after the opening lap. But it's still Dixon who leads the field. Ryle Harris coming through as well after that penalty that we spoke about at the beginning of the race.
And Walton is charging. He's picked up 4 spots on the opening lap. Have a look back through the order. Jared McLeod, Cam Wilson in car 14. We've seen him run last year on the Gold Coast. First up race win, remember there. He's been an engineer for the Big Gun team in the past. Now he's behind the wheel and getting stuck into it. Walton and Hansford are into it again. McNally's down the inside. Elsgood's down the inside. If race 1 was a little bit pedestrian, race 2's gone off.
They have certainly stepped up for race 2, and teammates getting into it. Walton and Hansford definitely not afraid. Be an interesting debrief in the truck art for this race, I think.
Interesting? I reckon awkward.
Have a look at Fisher now. He's attacking Dixon under brakes into the hairpin. Not quite enough.
But Dixon
runs wide. So hands the Jesus Falcon the lead of the race, but look at the action back a bit further in the pack. It's angry back here, Noons.
Walton's got damage to the number plate, the front headlight. It's just another day at the office, really, when you're charging through in a reverse grid V8 Ute race. But it's Andrew Fisher who leads the way. Remember, the Jesus car run by the Cedars team. Dixon second, Walton third, then McNally, who I've got to say last year really impressed me. He did a good, solid job. Sixth in 2012 in the championship. He was one of the most consistent Holden runners.
Oh.
The guys have gone nuts.
Jeremy Gray, round he goes. He's causing all types of chaos further back in the field. Looks at, he's definitely got damage to the front of that car, so he's out of this race. Cam Wilson's in the thick of things. We don't know where to watch at this point in time.
I'm gobsmacked. Race control, I don't think it can fit all of these drivers in at one time when they all get hauled there after this race.
And Cedars, he's trying to find his way through all this mess as safely as he can. Oh, goodness me, what is going on with these guys?
Charlie Kovacs Jr. there, and that's Grant Bromley in the HTA I-Seat car down the escape road, and it's still going. Danny Bazadzik, he's got damage to the front of his car. There'll be no one left.
This is more like a demo derby, Noons, that you get at the end of a speedway night rather than a reverse grid Ute race. Have a look at this action. This is Walton, replay on Chucky Baxter. Contact at turn 6. Then he tries to send it up the inside at turn 7. Carts Baxter wide. He's wide himself, up over the curb.
Now this is the one that will be concerned. Teammate on teammate. Both run by the Rod Dawson team, and then he does it again.
Oh, have a look at the car control by Hansford, though. Holds onto that somehow.
That could have been in the fence. It could have been facing the opposite direction. And then this one, Jeremy Gray gets unloaded, gets tangled up, gets a tank slapper, hits Cam Wilson. And you know the funny thing?
This is nuts, Nudes.
And this was another one. Kovacs Jr. moves across, but he moves into Bromley. So that's a hand slap for the South Australian, I'm afraid.
What's going to happen next in this race? Now, Pretty, he's been able to keep his nose clean so far. We're only halfway through the race, mind you, but now he runs wide after trying to put a pass on Jack Elsgood. And Elsgood keeps that position on Pretty. Baxter, after coming under fire from Walton at the start of the race, he's slotted in nicely behind our race 1 winner, but it's Fisher. He's got the best spot in the house at the moment. He's out front. He's looking in his mirrors, probably having a laugh, seeing all this action happen behind him.
Fisher is in the safest place. We are too. You are at home. Stay with us. More action from the Utes from the streets of Adelaide. Race 2 continues when we come back. We've had a lie down in the commercial break. We're back with race 2 on the streets of Adelaide with the Auto 1 V8 Utes. It has been the craziest Ute race we've seen in a long time, James Moffat, and this man in the black Renko Falcon, Chris Walton, has helped contribute somewhat.
Hey, what's going on, Nudes? He's just made a pass on Jesse Dixon and he hasn't managed to hit him. So whilst I've been a bit of a fan of Chris Walton in the past, he's probably gone a little over the edge in some of his moves in today's race. Be interesting to see if the stewards have anything to say about it afterwards.
Ford Spare Parts Division is rubbing their hands together because he needs a grille, a headlight, a bumper, a tray, a new chassis. Might even help too.
He's certainly beaten up that Falcon, that's for sure, but we've got another car in the fence here. Can't quite pick up who it is at the moment. We've got a replay.
Oh, this is Matthew Nolan,
the
jet ski star who has got it loose on the exit of the chicane. He had about 4 goes at saving it. He didn't. He's in the fence. He's done.
Welcome to V8 Ute Racing.
Have a look at McNally. He's down the inside too, trying to get a move on Jesse Dixon for 3rd place, and he will get it done. Or will he? He's on the wrong side for the chicane. Ryan Hansford lined up ready to go. Elsgood's behind. Nathan Pretty, race 1 winner in that black and red Commodore, has been watching this all go on. These two are not going to lift.
Oh, this is ugly.
Blokes go straight through the chicane. No one wants to yield.
And there'll be a yellow flag up here for that crash car of Nolan. So wisely, McNally gets out of that. And Dixon manages to hold on. But Elsgood, he's gone straight on at turn 4. Manages just to stay out of the tyres. So mistake there from the former series champion. He'll be kicking himself.
And Pretty was the one who invited the error because he was down the inside and Jack was just in too deep trying to outbrake the Milwaukee Commodore. This is turn 8.
Oh, just a bit of mirror departing from the car, or was that headlight? No, it's the headlight said it's had enough. Thank you, Chris, but I'm departing.
That's one way to save on weight, but with all that weight saved, he's closing in. Have a look at the front of this thing. It's been absolutely massacred.
Looks like something out of Mad Max or something, Noons.
He's hit just about everybody and everything, but he's still charging towards the front.
He certainly has great pace on in this race. And with 2 laps to go, the lead is certainly not settled.
I've got to say, James, that we were surprised by the penalty applied to Ryle Harris for that move on Cedars in race 1. If he got 10 spots for that, what do you reckon Walton gets for the hit on Hansford and some of the other stuff?
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what the stewards have to say about it after the race, but certainly he has made position with contact to other cars, which is always a bit of a no-no. Whilst we always encourage good, close, hard racing and a bit of, biff and barge in the V8 Utes, just driving to the back of people is not really on, but have a look at him. He's having a bit of a look up the inside.
He's got a good sniff of this, doesn't he? He's really in there, hustling the back of Andrew Fisher in that Jesus Falcon. A look back now towards the Redco Ford from on top, the X-Force in-car, or well, on-car really, isn't it?
And what he'll be trying to do is get a mega run through turn 8, which he has. Fisher had to get out of the throttle, and Walton now up the inside, into the hairpin. All he has to do is pull the car up, and he's going to get into the lead of this second reverse grid race. What a drive from Walton.
He started position 8. It's taken him 7 laps, or just about 7 laps, and he's got through the lead, and he and Andrew Fisher are miles in front of the rest of them. He's going to be hard to stop from here. Look at the margin. Wait, there's someone in the background. Jesse Dixon, I think, still is third. He and McNally are still side by side again. These young blokes, they just don't know when to stop.
So they've been going at it for a couple of laps now. And McNally will be getting frustrated now. He's clearly faster than Dixon, but he can't find a way cleanly past. And this is about the cleanest move we've seen from Walton. Oh, no, he got the back of Fisher.
You spoke too early. He just tagged the left rear on the way through. This is Todd Zanni, the West Aussie, going around and off. And where is he going? Race Bears replay shows it all. He'll get running again, but Charlie Kovacs Jr. will not. He is buried in the fence at turn 11. So last lap, turn 8 for the final time. Have a look at the pack behind. Dixon, Hansford, McNally, Pretty. I reckon Walton, if he just survives turn 9, this next corner, he won't be stopped.
And he's certainly ruffled a few feathers in this race. Going to be interesting to see the post-race reaction to some of his driving, but still he's had a fast car. And, oh, look, Hansford's got through on McNally, so he showing a bit of his frustration, just gives the back of that Falcon.
Now, yellow flags here. That's why Walton slows. Fisher made up ground there. He actually made contact. And I don't like contact under yellow flags. It's not good at all. But they've managed to get through there and get it done. So, final turn, a lock-up just for good measure from Chris Walton. Well, put it this way. He spiced it up. He certainly has added some fruit to the V8 Ute series.
Oh, gives it a bit of a wave.
Gives a little wave and crosses the line. He claims race 2. Fisher home in second. Dixon is best of the Commodores in third, and I reckon that sets the tone for 2013. Every race has to be as good as that one.
Certainly was a cracking race, and plenty of entertainment in it for sure. And Walton, he won here at Clipsal last year, so he's back on that winning form here in the streets of Adelaide.
Race 1 winner Nathan Pretty played it conservative. He got to 6th. Harris next from Baxter. Charlie O'Brien, the veteran, in 9th, and David Cedars pushed his way through from 26th to 10th. Craig Donis did some charging as well. He went from 29th and finished 15th.
Chris Walton started at 8th and you just picked them off right to the end.
Yeah, it was great. The car was great. The Renko car was awesome. It's been great all weekend. We knew we had 8 laps. We had 8 cars to pass. We just had to do 1 a lap and we did it, so it was good.
Yeah, you left yourself not much time in the end there. Andrew Fisher, he was a hard one to get past, but you just bided your time and got him.
No, Andrew's always a hard one to get past, but we had 2 laps to do it in. He made an error on the exit of turn 8, which helped me, so it just gave me the win.
Stay with us. We'll dig into the spare parts division and get these things repaired. Race 3, the final from the streets of Adelaide, when we come back. There's no doubt about it. The V8 Utes have been back with a bang. The final race of the weekend, 8 laps for race 3. Combined points determine the grid for this one. So Nathan Pretty and Andrew Fisher start up the front. One man that's not at the front, though, James Moffat, is Chris Walton. He was pinged 10 positions for that race 2 bump pass on Ryan Hansford. He'll start 7th in this race, so he's got to do it all over again and pass more cars.
Well, he certainly proved in race 2 that he's not afraid to lean on guys to get the job done. David Cedars coming off row 8 out of position 15. He'll be fast in this race.
Wayne Wakefield had a run in Utes last season. He's back. He starts from 21st on the grid. Stephen White, too, has been in the Utes before. Former Holden Young Lion and open wheel driver, driving the Dunlop Super Dealer Commodore this weekend, with Simon Wills, the former V8 Development Series champ, on engineering duty. So, final race of the weekend, Holden and Ford, Pretty and Fisher. Let's get it running down to the first chicane. Let's see if there's any action left up or if we spend it all in race 2.
Great start by Fisher. He's going to have the line into turn 1. But no, Pretty holds on around the outside.
Oh, there goes one. Right in the middle of the pack. Oh, Rhett Noonan got cleaned up by another of the rookies. Richard Bloomfield just couldn't get through there without making contact. There's more debris. It started again.
Lucky not to have more carnage, though, with a car facing the wrong way at turn 1 on the opening lap.
On board with Elliot Barber, and if you're wondering, hang on a minute, they're Kim Jane's sponsors. This is the camera from Kim's car. He's politely decided to do a swap. We've stuck it into Elliot's car, and he's doing a really good job. Ran in the Dunlop Series last year for the Minda Motorsport team, has been in Formula Ford in the past. He's done a bit of Touring Car Masters, but has adapted to the Ute really well.
And he's chasing Ryle Harris, a reigning series champion, so...
Oh, you mentioned Ryle Harris. He was in the fence.
He just about gave us our wall cam through turn 8 a bit of a tickle there with the rear end of that tap-out Falcon.
I tell you what, it wasn't tap-out. It was nearly a submission manoeuvre. Turn 9's a car park usually here. I hear tyres, I hear squealing. I bet you there was grief somewhere. Nathan Pretty's got no grief. He leads the way. Andrew Fisher 2nd, McNally 3rd. Gary Baxter having a really, really good run on his home track. He's been in this series since 2002. Only Jack Ellsgood's been around longer. If there's any tricks to driving these things, he knows them.
He certainly does. And a bit of a stalwart of the category, as you mentioned. 300 races this weekend, so a mega effort for Chucky to achieve that many race wins. But
no.
Trouble here again.
Troy Dontis.
Troy Dontis, he's in the wall.
He's got the other side this time. He had the left front earlier on, and now he's done the right front. Replay of the opening lap. Someone gets hit. There's the contact.
So Noel Edge into the back of Rhett Noonan.
It's never good when you appear on our curb cam sideways.
And here we go. Here's the damage to Dontis. So he's got right front damage, broken steering, and that unfortunately steers him into the left-hand side wall. But Pretty looks like he's just being able to manage that gap at the moment back to Fisher, but still plenty of action into turn 9, the hairpin.
Fonzie Mullen had it dancing around under brakes at turn 9, but Pretty's on course here. If he can stay up front, he'll win the round, and that would give Holden its 8th round win in Utes compared to Ford's 5. So last year, much was made of the parity debate and that the Falcons were a bit too fast. Certainly at this round last year, they had a real advantage, but I reckon they've got it right. It's a good blend at the front between Holden and Ford.
Well, we haven't heard the word parity being spoken about it, apart from just then, Moons.
We just did say
so,
it, but anyway.
We've got, like you said, great mix of Ford and Holden up the front of the field. And really, Nathan Pretty, he's doing a great job. He's been quick all weekend. Back on board now with Barber through the turn 1 and 2 centre chicane. Great part of this circuit. On the run now up to turn 4. Bumpy under brakes, so easy to get the car unsettled. Use a bit of the apex curb.
And this was the Rare Spares replay of the champ, Ryle Harris. Have a look at this. Car 1 just scrapes the fence.
I think that might have been a bit of a pucker moment for him there.
Oh. Got away with it, though. The reigning champ continues on. He put together this deal very last minute. Really wasn't very positive about being back on the V8 Utes grid this year, but he's here and he's running and he's in the front couple of runners. But Nathan Pretty, they don't have an answer at the moment for the former Bathurst 24-hour victor. Have a look behind at some of the moves that go on here to turn 9. It's all about, we call it the dive bomb. Up the inside, jamming on the brakes, And the other bloke makes his own arrangements.
And Harris just pulled off the textbook move into turn 9, then up the inside of fellow Ford driver Chris Walton, who's so far been pretty tame in this race.
He's used up his action quota in race 2, that's why. We jump aboard the Renko Ford, the NZ in-car looking ahead at Royal Harris, who, remember, claimed the championship last year, his first V8 Ute crown on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. We end one year with a street track. We start another with the traditional opener here on the streets of Adelaide, the Clipsal 500. But the man they are chasing, its half-race distance, is Nathan Pretty. He leads the way. The Milwaukee Commodore is looking strong. We'll run to the line when we come back. Welcome back. It's the final race in the opening round of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Cam Wilson needs protecting. He's spun at the hairpin and is going to just try to back it up and roll out of the way, and gets out of there just in the nick of time.
He almost didn't do that very well, Noon, so hopefully we get a replay to see what happened down there at turn 9, whether he was assisted into that spin or whether he just did it on his own. Here we go.
DIY.
Lock break.
Bang. Craig Donis trying to take advantage of that lock-up for the big gun Falcon driver. The rookie, one of 7 in the field this weekend, pretty much a quarter of the field. Welcome to Ute Racing. Wow.
So Cam, he just ran wide there,
and that's David Cedars brushing the fence. Those concrete blocks weigh a couple of tonne each. A V8 Ute weighs nearly 2 tonne.
Oh, have a look at that.
But I think concrete will win every time.
But look at Pretty. He is definitely cleared out on the field. If things stay the same, this race is definitely a battle for second, with Fisher still copping plenty of pressure from McNally in the Stratco Commodore. But Cedars, after we saw him scraping the wall at turn 8, he's up the inside into turn 9, on the march forward, past his teammate Charlie O'Brien, who's much experienced in motor racing in general, but coming back for another season in V8 Utes.
He's been in and out of the Utes a couple of times over the last few years. We just can't keep him away, can he? He's back in and among it, and he was here for the first Adelaide Grand Prix in 1985 in the Group A touring car race. How about that? Cedars was out of control, having his own problem. Charlie got it sideways and whacked him one while he was trying to sort it all out.
So the teammates, what is it this weekend? We saw Walton and Hansford get into it in race 2, and now the two-seaters racing team Falcons are getting into it in the third and final race. So no shortage of paddle rubbing this weekend.
You know what I reckon the safest way to run in V8 Ute racing is? Run your own team. No one can then hit you from within. Have a look at this. Cedars was in deep. Charlie was in deeper. Knocks the glass out of the side of the 10 car. What's in the water in Adelaide this weekend? Clearly there's something.
And here we go, moved by Ryan Hansford on Andrew Fisher. Not quite fire enough up the inside, so a bit of contact there, and Fisher does a great job to hold on to that.
So Hansford has to reload, refire, and have another run. He finished 8th in the championship last year. This is a better move. He's in the gap. Yes, that's better.
Cuts him wide a bit, but Hansford through to second now. So Fisher just fading a little bit in the latter half of this race.
Got to say that in the last few years of Ute racing, it's been pretty good. The driving standards certainly were cleaned up. Remember in the early days of when it ran as part of the Pro Car Series, you ran in the series back in 2005. Some of it was real cowboy stuff. I reckon we've just gone a little bit too far back over the line into Crazyville. I think just a few guys need to be settled down. We love the bump, we love the biff, we love a bit of hard racing, but it just gets a little bit too far in that last race. I reckon we need to knock it back just a couple of percent and things are okay.
A little bit of damage to the back of Jesse Dixon's Commodore. He's got that rear bumper bar that's come loose. Craig Dondas now in pit lane, serving a drive-through penalty for that contact with Cam Wilson.
Now, is that justified? Clearly Wilson was in really, really deep, and Donnis kind of just finished him off, so it's a bit hard to make that call, but clearly it's been made from race control. Fisher has got the wipers going. He's got Harris trying to go around the outside, which is the inside for the next one. McNally's lined up, Baxter's lined up, and we've only got a couple of laps to go.
So he's definitely come under fire in the latter half of this race, Fisher, losing another position to our reigning series champion, Ryle Harris, and I reckon Reece McNally, he'll want to have a crack at the Jesus Falcon as well.
I reckon the guy who's kicking himself out of all of this is a bit further down the road, Peter Burnett, left front. ripped off.
Well, that's one way to jack up a V8 Ute, isn't it?
I don't recommend you do it at your local garage next week, but that is one way to do it. McNally defending from Gary Baxter. Elliot Barber just trying to sneak in there. And the rear bumper's gone from Jesse Dixon's car. He's managed to shake it loose, or...
It's
no,
shaken.
it's still there. It's still there. There's still an element to it. But he's got Chris Walton behind, and as we saw in race 2, he's willing to assist with panel repairs.
It certainly is. So maybe Jesse might need to back up to Chris Walton and get that rear bar removed. But have a look at Baxter.
How's the slide?
Can you believe it? Into the last corner, backing it in.
Did a great job to hang on to that. Let's have a look at another replay. Peter Manette's joined the Kim Jane Troy Donis Club of rearranging your left front on the Coates Hire tyre bundle.
That's no way to treat a Yokohama Noons.
Well, he's kept it on the ground. It's just that it's the wrong part of it. It's wheel side down rather than wheel side out.
He's actually done a good job to keep it off the fence, unlike what we saw happen to Kim Jane. So lucky not to have a similar incident to that with Peter Burnett. But last lap now, and it's Nathan Pretty. He's got a handy margin out in front, but this little battle pack with Reece McNally, Gary Baxter, our man from race 2, Chris Walton, this is not over.
NZ in-car with the Queenslander as he charges by Jesse Dixon, who slows on the approach to turn 8. And yeah, he's running slowly again. David Cedars will be the next in the queue. Cedars has got to be kicking himself. Fastest car in all 3 races, but doesn't have the championship points to show as he slips by Jesse Dixon, who's got a real problem. Els could make some contact with him as well.
So Dixon has got real dramas. Something's gone wrong with that Commodore, and have a listen to it, running really rough. So he'll be lucky just to get to the finish. But have a look at this. Nathan Pretty into the final corner for the final time, and he's going to take out the opening round. Does a bit of a slide off the final corner. Great job to Pretty.
He takes his second race win from 3 this weekend. Holden Claim, another round win on the streets of Adelaide. Great drive from Ryan Hansford. He made it home to finish in second position. That's a great start for him in terms of the 2013 championship. Jesse Dixon, he's limping. He will make it, but he's lost pile of ground on the last lap. He does limp across the line. He finishes way back, 15th. But it's Pretty who takes the win. Harris third from Fisher, Reece McNally, Gary Baxter, Elliot Barber, Walton in 8th, Cedars and Elsgood round out the top 10. Championship points after the opening round, and Pretty holds sway, 19 clear of Fisher. Reece McNally rounds out the podium, but it's tight at the top.
Well, Nathan, your rivals fell away, silly mistakes and penalties, and geez, it's all plain sailing for you.
Yeah, exactly. The old fella didn't do too bad this weekend. So, look, an awesome job for the guys at Milwaukee that are backing us now. They're over the moon, and obviously Holden, so it's good to put one against the general.
Time to give out some awards, and the rookie Adam Marjoram picks up the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award. He managed to pick his way through the order in race 2. He went from 32nd to 16th, which was a great job. Renko rookie point score. It's a good field this year. Elliot Barber, Jesse Dixon and Cam Wilson are 1, 2, 3. But the Pretty boy, Nathan Pretty, takes round 1. Holden are on top to start 2013. It continues in the West, round 2. Barbagallo Raceway in Perth. Kim Jane won the round last year. He's got some work to do before we go racing on 3 to 5 of May. Thanks for your company today. Thanks to James Moffat and the whole team. We're off and racing in 2013. We'll see you next time.
At the opening round in Adelaide, the Ute boys came out of the blocks firing.
It's already on, and that's contact. Got it loose on the exit of the chicane.
Runs wide, watch out.
So lucky.
Oh no.
But the guys have gone nuts.
Welcome to V8 Ute Racing.
The panel beaters have been busy getting the cars ready for round 2, just so we can do it all again.
Utes are away at Barbagallo. All hell will break loose. Hi everyone and welcome to round 2 of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series protected by Armour All. Today at Barbagallo Raceway in Perth, Western Australia. Well, a bit of Formula 1 has come to the V8 Ute Series this weekend. A 3-leg knockout dropout qualifying system. The thing is though that the drivers don't want to do too many laps. They want to save their Yokohama tyres. This track's very abrasive and there's 3 races to get through this weekend. A quarter of the field are local Western Australian drivers. Some of them are making a one-off start. They're not doing the full series. They could steal some points from the championship regulars. In fact, Kim Jane is the round winner from here last year. Nathan Pretty, though, is the man who leads the series. 9 weeks since the opening round on the streets of Adelaide, and the V8 Ute boys are ready to get back on the track.
Nathan Pretty may be the early championship leader, but perhaps his greatest threat may be the demolition king, Chris Walton. He barged his way through the field in race 2 at Adelaide, showing no mercy as he picked off his rivals to claim the race.
He spiced it up. He claims race 2.
But a post-race penalty for his aggressive racing cost him 10 positions. Walton concedes he may need to tone it down a little in Perth, but makes no apologies for racing hard.
Most of the time in these cars, because they're always on the edge so much, once you've made the decision to make the move and then you realise it's too late, it is too late. So, like I say, you've got to have a go. You need to do that to get through the field like we do. So, yeah, if I can keep getting results, I'll just keep doing it.
Another year, another big crash already under the belt for Kim Jane.
Hit the tyre bundle, he's off the road, he's in the fence.
He's had a history of being at the wrong end of some frightening crashes with his ute over the years, which has taken a financial and emotional toll.
Sort of tried everything in it. You know, it's been on its roof, it's been on its side, it's been in backwards, it's been in frontwards. You know, we've given it certainly a cane, but, you know, the boys in the panel shops love it and gives them plenty to do. It's probably had about 3 or 4 weeks in the panel shop getting all put back together, and this is such a confident sport, and you know, you go in that hard, and you know, it's the first race meeting I can remember where, you know, we didn't finish the first race and the car was that badly torn up I couldn't compete in another one.
After clinching his first ever podium in Adelaide, Rhys McNally is pumped to be 3rd in the championship and now heads to a circuit where he secured a top 5 finish last year.
It's a great relief. This is my 4th year in the Utes, and you know, I've had race wins and I've been near enough to do it. I've never been able to quite get on that podium, so it was an awesome feeling. It was a huge payback to the team, I guess, you know, for all that hard work. My #1 mechanic, Pat, he's been with me since I started, so yeah, it was a good night, and yeah, hopefully we can have a few more throughout the year.
As the local WA drivers will tell you, there's a lot to love about this tough and tight Barbagallo circuit.
The most important thing is flow. So because it's quite hilly, especially out of turn 6 into turn 7 on the main straight, you've got to really get a good run out of there to set yourself up for the main straight, so, you know, some passing opportunities can arise. So very important to get that good flow around the track.
Well, there's 3 great opportunities for passing. Turn 1, obviously, dive under brakes. Turn 6 over the hill, which unfortunately a lot of the patrons can't see, but yeah, that's a good, and obviously coming over the hill, if you get a good drive out of what they call the bowl, turn 6, great into turn 7 is a great opportunity for overtaking.
The best part is over the top, you know, the setting it up the left-hander, trying to drive it really hard, really fast up the left-hander, and then the kink at the top, you know, get the car sideways, really power up over the top and down the bottom, quite like it. It's big under brakes, you know, you've got to be hard, you've got to be committed, late braking, I think that's where all the time is.
NZ Drivers' Championship points time, and Nathan Pretty is looking the goods after round 1 in Adelaide. Rhys McNally there in 3rd. We just heard from him. Last year's champ, Ryle Harris, down in 5th. Elliot Barber, your quickest rookie so far. As we check out who got our Armorall pole position. And that goes to David Cedars. Not the top 10 of the championship, but a 107.25, good enough to collect the $1,000 check. And importantly, he only used 7 laps of those Yokohama tyres in the 3 qualifying sessions, so he's got fresh rubber for the weekend. The Utes are set to explode here at Barbagallo Raceway in WA. It's the Auto 1 V8 Utes Series, protected by Armorall, and it's coming up after this. Yes, hello. Racing in the west for the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armorall. And this fantastic renovated venue now. Alongside me in commentary, Steve Johnson, race 2, just about to get out there on the grid. So, Steve, let's check out some highlights from race 1.
Now, this is the big news here. The first round winner at Clipsal, Nathan Pretty, blows an engine in qualifying, can't make it, so he has to start from the back of the grid and make his way through all the traffic.
31 Utes in front of him. This is the view from Craig Dontis. It was a hectic start, as you'd expect. Cedars led the charge into turn 1, and there was relatively little barge and pushing going on, but further back we managed to get one beached, which you kind of have to expect here when you come to WA. And there it is. It's Nolan finding himself out in the sand, enough to bring out a safety car. Didn't take long to make that happen.
No, so obviously bunched up on the safety car lap. Here's the restart. Ryle Harris having a really good go. down the outside here. Can't get the job done, has to wait till later, bide his time. Just remembering, these guys have only got 6 tyres for the whole weekend, so they can't burn them up here in the first race. Tony Longhurst, out of retirement.
And whack, out of retirement and straight into the side of Royal Harris, just pushing him out wide at turn 6 there. And this turned into an awesome battle that spanned a few laps between these two, up over the hill.
You know, you'll see in a minute, they pass each other 2 or 3 times in the space of a couple of corners. Royal here, having a little go down the inside, Tony blocking, locks the front brake, goes wide, Royal back up the inside. Now here, you would think, okay, Royal's on the inside. He's got the inside run for turn 1, he's going to be fine, but no. Tony Longhurst, being the little dog that he is, no baloney Tony, back down the inside of Royal Harris, gets that spot back.
And there's no way that Harris would have been expecting that move. It was so late, and he puts that Holden Ute in between 2 Fords, and that was a very good move, but it wasn't over yet.
No, Royal's here, right on his rear bumper bar, giving him a hustle all the way up through the S's. And you'll see here very, very soon, coming out of the last corner, Tony just has a massive brake lock up here, flat spots that left front tyre, goes wide, Royal gets back underneath him. That'll be the story for the rest of that race for the 2 leaders. Tony's still here struggling with the left front tyre flat spot that he did. Stephen White up the inside. Tony back down the inside again for turn 1. But Tony was able to do a fantastic job here and hold off the rest of the herd behind him, even though there was a little touch there with Stephen White to finish 3rd in this race. And it was a fantastic effort by Tony.
He just refused to give up any positions all day, trying to make these tyres last the whole weekend. As you said, just the 6 for the whole weekend.
Well, Tony's actually got 5
He's
now
got 5
because
now.
that one's no good anymore. But, Royal Harris was able to claw back a little bit of time on Cetus by the end there, but I think David was just trying to manage his tyres a bit better. Comes across the line, fantastic win. Royal Harris 2nd, and just a little bit of a gap back to Tony for 3rd. But all in all, a very action-packed race.
Not a bad way to start off the weekend. David Cedar's pole position and a race win, so the full bank of points for him. Royal Harris there in 2nd, and Longhurst somehow holding on for 3rd, with Chris Walton coming through behind him. So the Utes are out for their warm-up lap, race number 2, and this is going to be very, very exciting, Steve, because we reversed the top 20, and that always shakes things up.
Yeah, as you can see, Gerald McLeod finished 20th, so he starts first. Nathan Pretty starts 3rd. He obviously finished 17th, so he's going to be one to watch in this one. He was fast, starting from the back in the first race and getting right through to 17th.
And some big names further down the list. So about row number 9 and 10 is where we'll see a lot of fast guys coming from. But yes, Nathan Pretty is looking good for this one because he has a fast car and he's sitting on the 2nd row. 32 Utes, 16 Holdens and 16 Fords. Keep an eye on the red light on the front row. It's Gray alongside McLeod, and McLeod looks to have just got the jump. Gray comes across to block the line and rubs with Pretty.
Bit of a rub there. Oh, another one there in the background on the grass. Rubbing wheels there, banging door panels everywhere. Coming into turn 1.
Century Batteries on board with Reece McNally as he is very, very busy. We go up through the S's for the first time. There's still a lot of sorting out to do. McNally bumping wheels with Hansford. Hansford getting shoved out wide, and also, I think that was Gary Baxter getting pushed wide.
It was, absolutely. It looks like Hansford's got a bit of a problem there. That was a massive hit there. He's gone wide here. He's got a problem. Looks like a flat tyre, flat left rear maybe.
That left rear is going down, and everybody's going to go around him. Adam Marjoram now finding his way through. The Vogue Financial on board. This is turn number 6, down into the basin.
Down into cold corner, as we call it. There you can see Chris Walton in the middle of the pack there, starting obviously from about P17, P16. McNally on the inside.
Dontus is going to look good here in the Thirsty Camel Ute. We're riding on board with him right now.
Right up the inside there. He's got Jack Elsgood on the outside. Gets a run. Elsgood way over the curb. Nice and tight there. Oh, another touch. Massive lock-up into turn 1.
That's Cam Wilson in the go-karting Gold Coast entry, and Dontus getting shoved way out wide, and this is going to be tough to sort out as we go up through the S's. Hold your breath.
Oh, Elsgood back up the inside. That was a great move. Not much room there. You actually saw the onboard. Elsgood was on the outside on his left, and by the time he got down to turn 1, he was back on the inside on the right.
So finally, Nathan Pretty has found his way to the front of the field. It wasn't going to take long, and he's wrestled that lead away from Jared McLeod.
He's going to need to do everything he can to save his tyres. There's another lunge down here at Cole. Nathan Pretty needs to win this race. He's lost the lead of the championship because of his engine problem in qualifying and starting way back in race 1.
Century Batteries on board with Reece McNally. Craig Dontis is going to block over to the right. McNally says that he can still find his way through. It's a late braking manoeuvre into turn 7. Jeez, he pulled that one late.
He was miles back. How did he pull that up?
He's flying through the field, actually. He started way back, and he's already passed about 6 cars. So flying through the field so far, Reece McNally.
Not finished yet. Dontis needs to get back in. He does. He gets stuck on the outside here at turn 1, or at any of the corners for that matter. You can just get a freight train of cars coming up your inside, but he did a great job there getting back in, tucking in behind and not losing any more positions.
The Yokohama's squealing through turn number 4. The long left-hander as we let it hang out. This is the battle for second. McLeod blocking over to the right. It's not going to work. Wayne Wakefield late under brakes. He's going to tag him. Is he? No. Somehow avoided him.
That was close. I think Wayne, right at the last minute there, just decided to back out of that and try to get a run out of Kolb here, get up the inside and set it up for turn 1. He hasn't quite got an overlap.
He just falls back in behind him. He was thinking, no, he doesn't. The late moves into turn 7. It's such a heavy braking corner that you can get away with this kind of stuff.
Watch the switch back here.
Bounce it over the curb.
Can't do it, can't do it. That's what this racing, this Ute racing is fantastic. You see this sort of stuff week in and week. Another massive lock-up into turn 1.
Side by side, Cam Wilson getting the squeeze. Elliot Barber leading our rookie charge so far this weekend.
I think Elliot made his own hole there. There was actually no room, and he made that Ute fit up the inside.
Reece McNally just watching this one. So Barber, one of 3 rookies, is actually sitting behind them in the points so far, which is why he's a bit further ahead on this reverse grid race.
There's a fantastic looking car there, that Stratco car of Reece McNally. Like a red chrome and, really looks good in the flesh as it does here on television. But he's just down the inside. He's trying to make his own room. It goes wide.
Nice. He just kind of willed Wilson to run wide there, and he manages to get the Ute up the inside on the exit, and he takes away another position. So Reece McNally flying through this field at the moment.
What he did there, he actually positioned his car in the blind spot, and what he couldn't do, he couldn't pull back in just to make sure that that there was nobody up the inside. Made his own hole and got through. That was a very, very clever move.
Kim Jane amongst this mess, along with Ryle Harris, Chris Walton, who was driving around Adelaide like this series was a video game. He's also been over racing in New Zealand in the NZ Utes recently, almost bump drafting Ryle Harris down the front straight.
Yeah, Ryle definitely doesn't want to let Chris in front of him. He's a hard charger, he's a hard man to pass, and these guys are battling their way through the field as we speak.
They're racing for keeps in the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armorall. There's plenty more to come. Stick with us. The racing continues in Perth, streaming down the hill. It's always a good chance for a dive bomb. It's exactly what Wakefield's doing up the inside of McLeod. Further back, the battle's continuing. Marjoram as well, finding a move on the inside.
McLeod comes from nowhere on the outside. There you can see Nathan Pretty, the leader, got a bit of a gap on here. These guys are running for position 2 back.
Ryan Hansford coming out of the pits, returning after that lap 1 bingle, which saw him put down a left rear tyre. Potentially some steering damage with that Ute. This is the battle for second. Reece McNally's tacked onto the back of it. He's in 5th at the moment, but looking very competitive. That is Hansford. I still don't think that Ute's quite right at the moment, Steve.
No, it's not. He's just trying to get out and get some points now to try to keep his championship hopes alive.
Adam Marjoram letting the back end float through turn 5. Evoke Financial on board as he's got Craig Dontis in front of him. Not this time by.
This is tight down in here. Always such a good spot. When there's such big groups of cars backed up nose to tail, there's always going to be someone that fires up the inside. Oh, here we go. Dontis blocking down the straight. Marjoram had nowhere to go. He was lucky he didn't get turned on the inside of the track there.
He was kind of trusting, I suppose, that Marjoram was going to back off. And this is going to start to get the young West Aussie fired up, racing at home in front of his home crowd.
Yeah,
and the battle, big lock-up for Wakefield. This is the battle for second continuing. McNally tacking on and hoping to find a way through. 4 Utes riding with McNally. Century Batteries on board through the S's.
nose to tail these guys, and you just got to think something's going to happen. Someone's going to have a bomb somewhere. Something's going to give somewhere. You've always got to expect that in this V8 Ute racing, especially when they're this close. Look at them. You can't throw a blanket over them.
So Nathan Pretty has gapped the field courtesy of this battle, and the pressure is on. Jared McLeod, the son of the 1987 Bathurst 1000 winner, Marjoram locking a break at the entrance to turn number 6.
Still trying to get past Craig Dontis. These guys have been at it for a few laps now.
Elsgood, side by side over the hill. And Wakefield is chewing these tyres up. He's desperate to get through. Sideways.
Oh, there's touch. He's out wide. This is getting very, very tight. They're playing for keeps, these guys. There's 6 laps to go. There's plenty of time. They're racing like it's the last lap.
McNally finally gets the move put through on Barber. Further back, some big blocking going on. Ryle Harris up the inside. There was no room there. He somehow found an invisible gap to get up the inside of Stephen White. Fantastic job.
Didn't look like there was too much rubbing going on there either, so nice clean move. But you can just see these guys. Ryle Harris is one of the fastest here this weekend. Qualified second. Same with Chris Walton there, and they're struggling to get through the field in this reverse grid race. Just shows you how competitive this series is.
Back towards the front, Reece McNally in the Stratco. Ute is up the inside and locking that right front. You've got to be so careful with that. Thankfully, the right side tyres don't get a huge workout around this track.
Absolutely, and you're lucky that these tyres, they're the same size front to rear. They can actually put a slightly flat-spotted rear tyre, front tyre onto the rear for the next race if they need to. Here's an opening down the inside. McNally.
Cool as you like. Wakefield's going to make him work for it, though.
Wakefield's going to go. Oh, they've both gone wide.
And Barber tried to get the jump on the both of them, but he's only going to get the one spot back. So he moves back into 4th position. What a great battle.
If he doesn't get in here, he's going to miss another spot. Back down the outside here, McNally.
It's a dangerous spot to be out in the dirty stuff. Wakefield can't capitalise.
You can just see that Nathan Pretty has cleared out. You know, he's 6.2 seconds in front of these guys because of these guys fighting tooth and nail for this position. And it's not over yet. There's 5 laps to go. There's a bit of smoke there.
That's from the earlier contact that we saw with Wakefield. It's pouring out the back. Elliot Barber is trying to find a way around McNally, but McNally's got the speed. He is flying this week, and he's come from 14th in this race to be in the top 3.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He has got the speed. This tyre rubbing issue hopefully won't be too bad. This smoke will hopefully go away in the next lap or so when the guard just wears a little bit of that rubber off, but he's not going to come in for anything. He wants to finish in this top 3, and at the moment, you know, he could probably get up even further.
He's got McLeod in front of him, who started on the front row, and he's done a very good job to hold on to second because this has been some elbows out racing. Barber, the rookie, still wanting to find his way through. Speaking of finding his way through and rookies, Adam Marjoram's got that job done on Craig Dontis.
Yeah, great effort there, and he's not finished yet either. You know, look how close they are here. He's going to have another inside run into turn 1.
This is what he wanted.
That's a nice clean move. Got down the inside, didn't see a lock break. Great effort there. He's doing a great job.
It's Jeremy Gray who he slipped up the inside of after Gray started on the front row. He's holding on to a top 10 at the moment, just sideways through the S's, letting it all hang out. No weight in the rear of these cars when you come from other categories, whether it be Porsches like Adam Marjoram has. It's a completely different ballgame racing these things.
Yeah, it is for sure. And that smoke is actually not going away. Let's just hope that can hang in there for another, you know, it's only got another 4 laps to go. So if those tyres can just hang in there, he's on for a very good finish. Marjoram just a bit wide there coming into the bowl. Luckily, no one was right on his hammer there just to make sure that he could get that door closed again. Get back onto the job of securing some more positions. You know, he's up to 7th. What a fantastic effort that is.
Craig Dontis will be the next to have a look at the back of Jeremy Gray. As Marjoram again, he is charging. Locked tyre for Cam Wilson. And he's going to try the over-under. Marjoram's not getting this thing pulled up. It's dangerous stuff when they come bouncing back over the curb. And this is the battle for second. McNally's doing the squeeze.
Inside.
And he's pushed him out wide, and Barber into the side of McLeod as well. McLeod will hold on to 3rd. The pressure is on. Only a handful of laps remaining in the second race here in Perth. It's the Auto 1 V8 Utes Series, protected by Armour All. Only a few laps remain in the reverse grid race, and we've got plenty to sort out.
Bang! Straight into the back of McLeod.
Elliot Barber is
I don't know what he's had for breakfast, but it was pretty good. He's fired up. He wants to get past McLeod here.
These rookies are not afraid. But watch out, because he's got a very experienced man coming over his left shoulder in Wayne Wakefield. Wakefield's going to have to go the long way. But there is room on the outside here. He's not going to do it. He's going to abort that
Look at
pass.
these, 3 and 4 wide. Oh, back up the inside.
Smash. That was Jeremy Gray taking out 2 guys in one spell swoop. Dontis.
And then gets swamped down the front straight. And, they're on the grass. Dontis on the grass.
Manages to just only lightly tap the back of, I think that was Baxter in the middle of this as well. No, it's Gray. Sorry, Jeremy Gray. So Gray and Marjoram rubbing on the exit of turn 1.
Bang, there's a mirror. That Auto 1 mirror is hanging by a thread.
This is fantastic racing for the lower positions. Top 10 stuff. And this is racing for keeps, seriously. X-Force on board for Craig Dontis through turn 5. Float the rear end of the car out. Grab a gear as we dive down into turn 6. Wayne Wakefield sideways.
Wakefield's wide. Wakefield's gone wide down into Cole.
Do these guys realise they've got another race left?
Well, not by looking at the way that they're treating their tyres here. The car, they got 2.5 laps to go. Here comes Marjoram back up the inside.
And this will be a revenge shot, yeah, because Gray was a bit of a bowling ball last lap, and he's got the battle scars to prove it. So Marjoram takes that spot back from Gray.
Inside, yeah, no, all nice and clean through at the minute, but there's 2 laps to go, and we've seen in this category anything can happen.
New lot on board with your past champ, Ryle Harris, the defending champ, and he has Gary Baxter looking to the inside of him, and Kim Jane wanting to follow through, but it's not going to happen there. We just got 2 laps left to run in this one.
Cedars started 20th, Ryle 19th, and they are running nose to tail as we speak. Caught up to this group of cars here. Jeremy's got everything. I don't think I've ever seen as much stuff hanging off the ute as I can with Jeremy's car here. But it's still there, it's still going, and he's still in the pack, so he's still in with a chance.
Craig Dontis and the thirsty Camel Ute will be chasing him down as we get a little bit sideways out of turn 5. This is the battle further ahead, and it's still going on. Late braking all the way through, and your race 1 winner in Cedars is finding some space, and so too is Harris. Is going to try and follow him through.
Absolutely. I don't think you see, there's no other class that races at this current track, and at the moment, this meeting, that uses up every inch of this bitumen on this track. They are inside, outside, they are everywhere.
Ryle Harris will have the line up into turn 7, and Baxter will follow him through. So good racing. Nathan Pretty started the last lap. Kim Jane might be the beneficiary here.
This is going to be a very interesting last lap here. Look at this group of cars. It is going to be on.
Still got 1 more race to go. These guys are just focusing on this one last lap. Hung out to dry.
Here we go. Marjoram's got no idea who's in his right side because his mirror's hanging off. Jeremy Gray's bumpers and doors and everything else is hanging off. You've got Ryle Harris, and you've got, you've got all these Chris Waltons behind you that are just eager to get past. This is going to be interesting into the Kolb and into the last corner.
Only 2 corners remain. We got lots to sort out. Oh no! Jared McLeod's in the sand.
That's going to be looked at after the race, surely. That was a massive lunge there by Barber on the inside.
He started off the front row and it'll finish in the sand. That's heartbreaking, but this guy, no such problems.
Clean as you like. No marks on that car.
That is exactly what he needed after a terrible result in qualifying. Nathan Pretty leads him home from McNally in the battle for third.
Wakefield's gone wide.
Bang! Barber is smashing his way through this field. Is he going to take third? No, not quite. Holds on for third position, and further back Marjoram and Wilson will go side by side to the line. I'm not even going to bother with the rest. That was amazing racing and tense. 16 laps, and Nathan Pretty is your race winner, but Reece McNally passing 12 cars to come through and finish second. Further down the order, David Cedars did a very good job to pass a few to finish up in 9th. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Chris Walton, in 15th. And further down the list, Jack Elsgood in 18th. But this is what they'll be looking at.
Yeah, this last lap lunge by Elliot Barber is definitely going to be looked at the end of the race by the officials.
Well, while they do that, let's hear from our race winner with Kylie.
Well, Nathan Pretty, sometimes it's all about luck. You had a great position in that second race, but, gee, you held it well.
Yeah, look, I wasn't going to hang around and battle it out and get more damage. I got enough damage just from the start, with guys just crashing into me for no reason. So, I mean, look, I hear there was a fair bit going on behind me, but as I said, I wasn't hanging around to find out and get involved in it.
And from a championship point of view, that's what it's all about for you this weekend, isn't it?
Absolutely. I bounce back. You know, I touched on that earlier, where it's going to take a lot more than that to keep us out of this championship, that's for sure. It's just a hiccup, a minor speed bump in our championship run, and we've just got to put that behind us and just keep pressing on what we can do, and winning races is what it's about.
Bring on race 3.
Absolutely.
A driver's ability to hurtle their V8 Ute quickest around the track across a race weekend is often dependent on tyre management. To ensure a level playing field, the V8 Ute Series has strict rules governing each team's use of their Yokohama control tyre allocations.
We have a technical team that obviously enforce the rule. Each team has a maximum of 6 tyres they can use for the race weekend. They're all marked prior to qualifying, and then the teams will use them throughout the race weekend as they see fit. But our technical team do police the fact that the right tyres are on the right car and being used under the rules and the regulations that are set for the category.
With the quality of tyres having a significant impact on lap times, particularly at a tight track like Barbagallo Raceway, teams and drivers must find the right balancing act.
You know, the track's very abrasive, so your tyres go off very quickly, so you've really got to look after your rear tyres. So tyre management here and tyre placement and using all your tyres in different corners over the qualifying and the races is very important. And saving your 2 new spare tyres for as long as you can. And if you can hold out to the last race and put them on the back, you know, you certainly got giving yourself a great chance, because you'll wear out your rear tyres here quicker than your front.
For more info, head to the V8 Utes website.
2 races down, and we've still got one huge race to come. The Auto 1 V8 Utes Series, protected by Armour All, is absolutely going off here in Perth. You don't want to miss the last race.
This round, we profile West Australian speedster Todd Zani from the Easy ATM racing team.
The person that inspired me to get into V8 Ute racing was, it's a funny story, it was my nan. She was an ambulance driver for the Army years ago, and she used to do the daily drop-off to us in school in her old XT wagon, and she was regularly being pulled over by the police, and she'd say, look, I was only doing 60, not realising the speedometer was 60 miles an hour and not 60 kilometres an hour. So I think the bug was instilled in me at a pretty young age.
Just one race remains here at Barbagallo Raceway for the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Steve Johnson, it's all about who's got the rubber now, because all the fast guys are back at the front.
Absolutely, you know, there's been a few guys that have had bad weekends. Nathan Pretty included. Look at him, he starts out of row 3, great effort.
That's how champions consolidate right there. Terrible qualifying session, he's starting off the 3rd row. Cedars McNally be off the front row. That's going to be an awesome battle for this journey. The last race of the weekend, further down the list, and some bigger names further back as well. Craig Dontis out of the 7th row. Jesse Dixon, Elliot Barber, a couple of rookies alongside Jack Elsgood. But how about this? Andrew Fisher, 2nd in the championship coming into this weekend after Adelaide, and this is just not going to plan for him.
No, he needs to have a really good run here in race 3 and just try to maintain some sort of momentum going into the next round.
All right, hold on. Cedars alongside Reece McNally on the front row. McNally with some fresh rubber on that left-hand side. And away we go. The Stratco Ute trying to edge over to the inside line. He gets it. Great start. Folk Financial on board with Marjoram as he slots in. He's starting from 5th position. What a fantastic job. Only his 2nd ever race meeting in the Utes.
Yeah, he's done a great job there. He's in 5th. Roll Harris is up in the 3rd spot. He's going to be saying, a bit of rubbing again going up through the S's here. That's Stephen White there, just on the outside. Able to get it back in for turn 4, the left-hander up the hill.
Rest Bears on board with Fisher. Love these Utes. It's such a popular category in Australia. Chris Walton's on the outside of Baxter. And Pretty's going to look up the inside. Tap, tap, tap. Can he get the run up the hill?
Yeah, Walton's got a bit of smoke coming out of the left-hand side there. I don't know whether that was something rubbing or a little bit of a brake lock-up, but it gave that Milwaukee car of Nathan Pretty, a really good clean run up the inside there. A little bit of paint swapping, but that's what this is all about.
And you know what's going to happen here. Kim Jane is just going to stick to the inside, and Walton's going to try and pressure him over, but it's not going to happen. He's taking that one away from him.
So McNally, great start from P2 on the outside. Oh, there's a touch there.
Cedars and McNally touch. And look at this. Up the inside comes Royal Harris.
Royal Harris.
Side by side to the S's. He's going to have the sit, is he? McNally makes him work for it. And last year's champ has taken control of the race. He got 2 in 1 corner. Fantastic job by Royal Harris.
That was a great move there. Really capitalised on the touch between McNally and Cedars at turn 1.
Baxter pushing Longhurst out wide. Adam Marjoram, his teammate, will slip up the inside as well.
Bit of a
Pretty
touch.
wants it. Locking brakes down into cold. And Longhurst is going backwards here.
Well, at least we know these guys don't have to save any tyres for this race. They can go all out and give it everything for this last 14-lap race of the weekend.
Marjoram, his plan was to put a new left rear tyre on for race 2 and race 3, so he can afford to punish that left rear a bit more on this one. Here we go, down into turn 7. And that's Walton up the inside, and Longhurst is still being slotted back.
Still bits flying off these cars everywhere. They go left, they go right. They just try to find any gap that they can. In some cases, as we've seen, down the grass.
Rare Spares replay time, turn 7. Danny Bizadzik is on the grass, and whammo, taking out one of our styrofoam chill signs this weekend. Oh bang, that was why.
They've just hooked wheels, and that's why he's been fired off to the infield and straight through that chill sign. Now, here's the replay of the pass for the lead. We're on board with Royal Harris.
He slots Cedar out wide, and then it's just a matter of sneaking past McNally, not backing down in the entrance to the S's. Great racing.
Here we see Walton down the inside. Oh, big brake lock up again from Walton on the inside of Nathan Pretty.
And Longhurst will get up the inside. Kim Jane will try and get up the extreme inside. It's not going to happen there. He has to slot back in behind him. We've got one round in the background. It's Al Letcher. They're scattering to avoid him. Walton with a brake lock up. And it looks like Letcher's kind of stuck on that curb there.
First round back for Letcher too, so let's hope he can get going again.
He managed to sort it out. Walton holding on to that position ahead of Tony Longhurst. So good seeing the 2-time Bathurst 1000 winner out here racing in the Utes.
He had a great race in the first race of the weekend. He's back in there in the mix now. Didn't have such a good run in the reverse grid. He's fired up. Safety car's out. Al Letcher's just stuck there on the curb. He might have more than just a curb issue there. He might have a mechanical problem. It didn't seem like that car moved much at all. Here's a replay.
Let's see who got the tag from here. Rare Spares replay time. Up the inside, bam-o.
Oh.
Huge hit. I think that might have been Fonzie Mullen. One more time it was. So Fonzie Mullen up the inside. Big contact. Gets one back for his efforts. And that leaves Letcher stranded on the exit of turn 7. And he's not very happy about that one. He says, I'll see you in the pits later, buddy. We'll have words. We're going to a break. We got plenty more to sort out. Still to come here in Perth. You're back with the Auto 1 V8 Utes Series protected by Armour All, and while we're in the ad break, we got back to racing conditions, and on the Rare Spares replay, check this action out. Adam Marjoram slotting back into 5th position, but further back in the field. Ready for this? Bam! We hadn't even got to the start line yet with Jack Elsgood running up the back of Elliot Barber. He says, what was that about? And the smoke pours from the front of the Fuchs Hustler Mowers Ford, and that was the end result for the Hustler. And it left a bit of oil on the track, which is exactly what they're avoiding, Steve.
Absolutely. They're driving down the right-hand side, as they would normally do, trying to protect their position, but there's a lot of oil that Jack left on the outside there. Unfortunate for Jack on the restart. Just got caught up with a few cars slowing down in front of him, and it was a massive, I guess, domino effect back to him.
So your race leader is Royal Harris, and he is in front of the man who's leading the points for the weekend in Cedars. Behind him is Baxter. But the race between two local boys here is getting pretty hot. Reece McNally and Adam Marjoram.
The inside here, yeah, it's very, very tight.
Dixon up the inside of Wakefield, and Dixon, a young rookie driver, just says to Wakefield, this line is mine, and I'm not afraid to run the experienced guys out of room.
Now, Jesse Dixon's been a bit of a quiet achiever this weekend. He's actually slowly gotten his way up through the races, and you find himself really in a good spot here for the last race of the day, and he's saved his tyres, so he's going to be looking good by lap sort of 12, 13 of this race.
Young charger who won a drive at Bathurst, courtesy of reality television. What a world we live in these days. We're still racing at the front. There he goes, Dixon through once more. And Dontas protecting that line, but you can see everybody very particular about avoiding that oil over to the left-hand side of the front straight. Riding on board with Adam Marjoram right now.
Good in-car shot here. Coming up through turn 4, long left-hander before they hit the top of the hill, turn 5. You can see the wheel work there. Bit of oversteer, bit of opposite lock. He'll pull another gear into 4th gear. Hard on the brakes, down into turn 6. Oh, trying to protect his line while he does it, back into 3rd.
It's Tony Longhurst, stable partner for him this weekend. It's pretty amazing to think that the Williams Race Tech team has prepped 9 cars for this weekend. Biggest team that we have on the grid. All Holdens.
Now here we go.
It's McNally protecting that inside line. Marjoram wants to go to the outside.
Watch for this crisscross here. He's going to try to do it. We're back in car with him.
He's got the sit.
He just can't get it done. Just couldn't get it enough for that overlap to stop McNally from blocking him.
He'll put the pressure onto the back of the Stratco car once more. And he's doing a good job of protecting that inside. But you've got to take your hat off. Adam Marjoram's having a great weekend this weekend. Yes, it's his home race, but he's actually only competed at this track probably 4 or 5 times. So I think everybody else in the grid has a few more laps than him around here.
Yeah, they do, that's for sure.
Andrew Fisher, Resbears on board. Jesus Racing Team Ute is having a bit of a shocker this weekend. He'll relinquish that top spot, or the second top spot in the championship chase. This never-ending turn 4, it's so long. Patience before you pick up the throttle. R-spec tyres, no weight in the rear end, so it's pretty easy to go buzzing the tyres.
It is, and these cars aren't lacking in horsepower. They've got more horsepower than a standard Ute, the standard Holden and the standard Ford Ute that you get on the road. It is still the standard engine, but the performance they get out of these cars is a lot more than what you would have on the road. So, very, very easy to spin the tyres up. And these tyres, these R-spec tyres, have actually got a lot of grip. They've probably got 20 to 30% more grip than your standard road tyre. So, they are a tyre that you can run on the road, but they've got very, very minimal tread pattern on them. So not very good in the wet. Very good in these conditions here at Perth, though.
So Dontas and Barber. This young rookie's had a very busy weekend. Contact with Jared McLeod at the end of race 2, and he's actually relegated down to position 14 for that, so having to fight his way through right now.
Yeah, he did. We thought that would be the case. He got dropped 10 spots on the grid for that indiscretion with Jared McLeod, and finds himself back here in 14 spots, still chasing Craig Dontas.
So the leaders are spread out just a little bit, but this looks to be where the majority of the action is. Battle for 4th position. Reece McNally, Adam Marjoram up the inside. Just hitting the rev limiter in the approach to the hill. 5th gear, about 210 kilometres an hour. Whoops, we got one out, way out in the dust. And that's Wayne Wakefield, who's had a busy weekend, managed to hold on to it. What's the key to getting out of the sand here? Keep your foot down?
Absolutely, keep your foot down, get through it. Generally, there's a hard-packed area out near the wall that if you can get through the sand and get onto that hard stuff, you'll be able to drive yourself around the outside and back onto the track, as what Wayne Wakefield we just saw doing then. So, good job by him. He's back on the track. Here's a replay of him.
Oh, he's long gone, very early.
Absolutely, and you can see that hard pack there, that soft stuff. Oh, here's some action here. Chris Walton trying to protect into the last corner.
That's White up the inside. Stephen White, former Holden Young line driver, and Nathan Pretty, who's trying so hard to get as many points back after that shocker in qualifying where he did an engine on his outlap.
Jesse Dixon right there in behind Nathan Pretty, trying to get up, and does a great job, gets up the inside.
So one rookie up against last year's Rookie of the Year, and it's pretty rare that you see Walton dropping positions going backwards. He's got Kim Jane behind him now as well to protect. Bouncing off the curbs through the S's.
I think Chris has got a problem here. He's got some smoke coming out the back of that car. I don't know if he's got a problem, but it is the final lap. Royal Harris has cleared out. He's managed his tyres sensationally this weekend.
He got the job done earlier in the race when McNally and Cedars collided and pushed each other wide, and he was there to take the lead. Here we go, one last chance for Adam Marjoram. Oh, they touch coming out of Kolb. Busy work on the steering wheel. Last chance dance down into turn 7.
It is all going to happen here. Marjam's going to come way out wide on the outside and really try to get that slingshot over the line.
Can he do the impossible out of turn 7? He's not going to get alongside him. Your race winners, Raul Harris, Baxter finishing third. Just couldn't get around your eventual round winner in Cedars, and that was a very close race between the two local Perth boys. Letting it all slide out. Raul Harris, your race winner for race number 3 in Perth. David Cedars, what a great weekend. A win, pole position, and also a second place in that last race. Gary Baxter did well, and it's a sea of Holdens filling out the top 10 after the first 2 Fords. He started the weekend very strongly, and that's what gave him the #1 spot for the weekend. 128 points for David Cedars, and he's with our Kylie King right now.
Well, David, winners are grinners, and you've got a massive grin on your face.
Certainly do. Ticked every box I wanted to tick coming here. Perth has been the elusive track for me in any category I've came here, so it's good to finally get a pole, a race win and a round win. So happy. The boys did an excellent job, like the guys from FW1 for the support all year, and yeah, it's been awesome.
So to the NZ Drivers' Championship points, Raul Harris has taken control of the championship now from Reece McNally, who had a good weekend. Nathan Pretty, he's dropped all the way back down to 5th.
Well, Raul, as the defending champion, you hadn't won a race yet. That must have been niggling at you.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drought. Bathurst last year, and before that race, I sort of, was happy to play my part and bring home the points. But they had a bit of an altercation on turn 1, and I snuck up the inside and drove away. We had 2 new tyres on the front of the car we saved for the last race, and it worked a treat.
Always a cool award to win, the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award, and Reece McNally doing it in front of his home fans here in WA, passing 12 cars in race number 2. And how about our Rookie of the Year honours so far? Elliot Barber is just 3 points ahead of Jesse Dixon, and Adam Marjoram had a good weekend here as well. Looking forward to seeing how that one pans out. But David Cedars was the man here in the West, finally breaking through for that first win. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Utes once more. They'll be joining the V8s when they return from Texas as we go to Hidden Valley Raceway up in Darwin for round number 3. I'm Chad Nailon, and thank you very much to Steve Johnson and the entire crew. It's been a very exciting weekend here in Perth. We'll see you next time.
Not in a hot way, but that kind of way.
At the last round, the V8 Utes got wild out west.
Oh, there's touch. Bang, there's a mirror.
Smash.
Oh, banging door panels everywhere.
And the kid took control of the championship, letting it all slide out. Raul Harris, your race winner. Now we head north to a place where he staked his claim before. But at the top end, things can easily get turned upside down.
Oh, he keeps going. Flips it on his lid.
Hi everyone and welcome to Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin. It's round 3 today of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Now this is a track that always delivers in V8 Ute racing. 3 of the 4 closest ever race finishes have unfolded here at this circuit. And again in 2013 we have a championship fight on our hands. 24 points covers the top 5 drivers after 2 rounds of 8 for this season. This weekend too, David Cedars, last round winner at Barbagallo in Perth, he has special reason to perform. He swapped his number this weekend from number 8 to number 7. It's all in tribute to the late Rodney Crick, the 5-time Australian Super Truck champion. But to win here this weekend, he's going to have to go through the man who beat him to this round victory last year and indeed to the 2012 championship, Raul Harris. And he's a man in good form lately.
Another round, another championship leader as the sleeping giant Raul Harris emerges from the pack. Although he's the defending series champion, it's taken him 6 outings to clinch his first race win of the year, race 3 in Perth. Adding further fuel to his form, he won the Darwin round last year and is a big fan of the 4-race format and getting the most out of worn tyres.
I love that the cars go off, everything's faded, you've got to really manhandle them around and you've got to have a lot of finesse with your right foot, and that seems to be, if I've got anything good going for me, that seems to be my good thing. On the data, I'm really smooth on my throttle application, so obviously in race 4 here in a very hot conditions when your tyres are going right off, I love it. I'm back feeling confident, back winning races, and that's what we're doing for the rest of the year.
Nathan Pretty must be rueing his bad luck. After claiming the early championship lead, his Holden suffered engine dramas in Perth, putting his title hopes on ice for now.
Unfortunately, it's broken a valve spring, which has dropped a valve then and damaged the engine first lap of qualifying. So I qualified dead last in Perth. right here, 2 rounds down, I've got the bookends, the fastest and the slowest time. So now we just need to get back to the front, and we've got a fresh engine back in it again, and just have to press on pretty hard now.
Reece McNally came of age in Perth. A stunning performance sees this quiet achiever leap to second in the championship, a career best.
This year, you know, we've come back with a new attitude. We're a lot more aggressive. We know what we need to do. We're pushing hard, and so far so good. So, yeah, it's probably taken a few people by surprise, but, you know, we've always been just on that edge, and I think we've now finally just, you know, cracked that little bit of extra pace and found that key just to jump us up those few extra spots.
Among this year's frontrunners is a seasoned campaigner, Gary Baxter, who's equal third with the Perth round winner, David Cedars. And the series rookies and young guns are also putting on a feisty show, serving it up to one another and their rivals with impressive results. Elliot Barber and Jesse Dixon are 7th and 8th in the championship, Adam Marjoram 12th.
We've got the experienced guys like Kim Jane, Nathan Pretty, and those guys you've got to be a bit conservative, because if you give them a bump, you're most likely going to be in the sand the next lap. So some of the guys you can go conservative with, most of the other guys you can sort of have a bit of a crack at and race quite hard with. But there are some of the old dogs out there that you've got to be a little bit more courteous to, I suppose.
There's definitely a tricky balance. You know, you're the new guy, so you don't want to be pushed around. You've got to stand your ground, but you also don't want to seem like the arrogant new guy that they're going to push back. So it's a nice balance, but we're going all right.
I think the rookies have done very well this year. I think that we didn't quite expect to be as quick as we are. Any one of us rookies to get right up there in the top 3 podium for one of the races in the year, I think would be a fantastic result, whether it be me or the other rookies. So that, I think, would be a dream come true for some people, yeah.
Also set to add some spice into the weekend is super sub Chris Pither. The former series champion is filling in for an injured Tony Longhurst. With 4 races to be run and won in the heat of the top end, it will be a true battle of the fittest in this Holden versus Ford V8 Ute showdown.
Time to check out the NZ Drivers' Championship, and I've got to tell you, it's oh so close after that last round in Perth. Raul Harris just 7 points up on Reece McNally. David Cedars and Chucky Baxter very close together. Nathan Pretty slipping away from his championship lead after Adelaide. Armour All pole position winner, Chris Pither, the Kiwi, back in the series and straight to number 1, $1,000 for his efforts. Fantastic work from the 2011 champ. A one-off meeting for him this weekend. Time to gear up and send this big field out onto the grid. Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All right here in Hidden Valley. It's a perfect mix, and we got 4 big races coming our way. Yes, hello, this is Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway. The Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All are heading out to the grid. I've got James Moffat alongside me for this one. They just love their Utes up here.
They certainly do, and I think we're going to catch some highlights of race 1, and it was action aplenty as always in the V8 Utes.
4 races for these guys this weekend. Very tough stuff. Have a look at this. 3 wide, the run down to turn 1. As you'd expect with the big long front straight, and these guys wanted to get busy from the get-go. That's Pither on the inside, and he went toe-to-toe the whole way through turn 1, just squeezing David Cedars out wide, getting a bit of racing room.
But it was Cedars that was able to hold on around the outside of turn 1 and take the lead into turn 5. Have a look at Kim Jane now, trying to slide up the inside of Pither, and good, close side-by-side racing in the Utes.
Have a look at this for some aggressive blocking. Jesse Dixon way late. Look out. Oh, Chucky Baxter there was getting so close to the back of Nathan Pretty. They both run off the track. This is the onboard view from the Heyman Reese car.
Very lucky that Dixon didn't take out Nathan Pretty in that Milwaukee Ute, and Dixon had further problems later on in the race, here running wide at turns at 11, and it's not a good race for him.
Not the best way to start off the weekend for the rookie. This was the battle for the lead, and in fact the pass for the lead. Pither up the inside of Cedars, and I think Cedars, knowing that this isn't really a championship battle here, because Pither's just a one-off driver for the weekend, so wise move. How about this? Baxter up the inside of McLeod. The slightest of touches. Dontas had to take evasive action. This is what it looked like from the inside. You can barely see that they touch him off, but it was enough to send McLeod around.
Very low grip conditions here at Darwin, and they weren't the only ones in trouble. Jack Elsgood, Spudwood and Danny Buzadzik coming off at turn 1.
Yeah, that's the usual kind of carnage that we expect out of the Utes when they come to Darwin. How about this one? This year, well, one of the rookies from this year, turning around last year's Rookie of the Year. Walton goes flying off onto the infield. And this is why. Marjoram ran wide into turn 5, so Walton says, OK, I'll have a look at the inside. Whack, there's the first hit. And, yeah, Marjoram wasn't going to have any of it. He'd actually get a 5-spot grid penalty for firing the Renko Ute off just there.
But it was all Chris Pither. He comfortably led the field to the checkered flag for race 1. So great start of the weekend for Pither on his return to the series.
Super impressive. The 2011 champion caught a red-eye flight in last minute, subbing in for Tony Longhurst, and took pole, took the race win. David Cedars quite happy to take second position there. But the bad news for those two is that they're going to have to go all the way back to row 9 for the reverse grid race. 18 cars reversed for the reverse grid stuff. So Moff, they're going to be very, very busy.
Always a great reward for having a race win to get sent to the back of the field, or not quite to the back of the field, but starting off 18th will be tough work for those guys.
Yeah, Glenn McNally alongside with Jared McLeod, they'll be off the front row. And this is where we can expect to see all the fast guys. Kim Jane, Roll Harris, your series leader, Cedars and Pither. And, well, the guys that didn't quite make the reverse, they're off the back in this 31 cars that we'll be taking to race number 2. Our first grid race. Okay, set for a start. Hidden Valley, Auto 1 Utes protected by Armour All. It's McNally, Glenn McNally alongside Jared McLeod. Red lights on. The long run to the first corner, great start from McLeod. McNally missed it badly and he's getting absolutely hounded. Walton's on the outside of him. He's going to get relegated from the front row back a good 4 or 5 spots. On board with Dontis. Hold your breath. Oh, you hate to be on the outside here. Cops the first hit. Hang on. 4 or 5 get by. And a few rocks in his face as well, Moff.
Well, what a great start from Jared McLeod. He did everything he needed to do to get off the line nice and clearly. He leads the field into turn 5. Watch for plenty of action into here and into the hairpin on this first lap. We saw Dondas getting beat up at turn 1. Have a look at Chris Walton, former Rookie of the Year, trying to go around the outside now, turn 6, the hairpin. That's not going to work for him.
Stephen White up the inside. He's going to be on the outside for this big long sweeper, turn 7. A little bit of a touch. Jeremy Gray's going to get pushed out wide. Oh, cop one more and he's off. Gray goes spinning away and just touches up the tyre barrier.
So Walton already in the thick of things. Gray in the tyre barrier. He should be able to get out of there. Doesn't look like there'll be too much damage, but problems
Peter
here.
Burnett. He's going to park the back in the gravel. That's why it's there. Hopefully he's going to get this thing moving. He just missed the tyres. Peter Burnett. Let's see if we can get this thing out, though, because as soon as you gas it, that's when it's going to start to bury itself. Back at the front, though, Jared McLeod, perfect first lap. Walton's up the inside, this big, long, over a kilometre-long straight.
So plenty of action already in lap 1 of this reverse grid race. Looks like Baxter having a look up the inside. We saw him having troubles into turn 1 with Jesse Dixon in race 1. This time, looks like he's going to be able to get through turn 1 with no dramas at all. But Peter Burnett, he's not going anywhere. He's stuck in the sand trap at turns 10 and 11. And I dare say we might see a safety car.
Well, they're going to keep racing at the moment. We'll see what the outcome is. And I think that's it. Yep, safety car, whoops. A couple people saw it before the others. And thankfully, we have managed to avoid contact between Walton and I think that might have been Stephen White. Okay, on board. Let's see what happened first to Jeremy Gray. Up the inside at turn 5, just the slightest of taps, and then finished the job, Walton. That's a scary spot to go flying off.
Yeah, so it's a second bit of contact there with Walton. He was probably up the inside and probably just didn't give Jeremy Gray quite enough room on the exit, and they had front to rear contact, and that set Gray off. But here's Burnett, and this is the reason why we have the safety car. He's just out in the marbles, no grip out there, and even less grip in the sand trap.
So our Petters STP safety car is out and controlling the field. Jared McLeod, your race leader so far from Ben Dunn. We've still got plenty to run here. The Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All, up here in Darwin. Welcome back to Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway. The safety car just controlling the field for the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. I think the Peters STP safety car needs a bit of protection as he goes diving for the pit lane. We're just about to go green once more. Jared McLeod to lead the field from Ben Dunn, Stephen White and Chris Walton.
So safety cars can often breed safety cars, Chad. Big long run into turn one. McLeod defending his line from Ben Dunn. Have a look at Chris Walton trying to sneak around the outside of Stephen White in that Dunlop Super Dealers Ute.
A little bit of contact. Let's see how they slot through. Auto 1 on board. Whoops, look out. Bang. Up the back of Elliot Barber. That goes Craig Dontis. And Roll Harris was the big beneficiary there. He picked up, I think, 3 or 4 in that one corner. He's on a charge.
Also, Barber now trying to sneak back up the inside of Dontis at turn 5. Looked like he might have missed a gear coming out of turn 1, and that gave Dontis the opportunity to get a run on him. But McLeod still leading the field. But look at Roll Harris. He is picking them off.
He said before this race that he'd be happy to finish anywhere in the top 7 or 8, and already he's up, thinking about 6th or 7th position there. So he is flying through this field. Looking back from Craig Dontis, that's Elliot Barber behind him.
Great section of the track this, Chad, through turns 10 and 11. Really important to keep, I guess, the momentum of the car up, or the V8 Ute. And look at Barber. He's going to have a look up the inside in the last corner. Difficult passing opportunity, but it looks like Dontis has given him a bit of room, saw him coming, and now it's just going to be a big drag race between the Ford and the Holden down the long front straight here at Darwin.
Man, aggressive stuff this from the rookie. Long, long wait. Who's going to be first on the brakes? Nephew of former NASCAR racer Marshall Brewer. So let's see. Yeah, he just takes control of that one. And Reece McNally says, OK, I'll get a part of this. Kim Jane's going to be at the inside as well. Craig Dontis is going to lose 3 or 4 spots here.
So McLeod still doing a great job out front. He's now got Stephen White behind him in that Dunlop Super Dealers Holden.
Here comes
but
Harris.
Look at the reigning champion up the inside of Ben Dunn. So Harris, he is on an absolute charge all the way from 16th to 4th in 6 laps. Can you believe it?
Andrew Fisher, that's Adam Marjoram on the outside. Another one of these rookies who's really trying to come up through the field. Had a 5-spot grid penalty for slipping Chris Walton off the track. He'll have the inside track position up through 7.
And I think that penalty was probably fair, having seen the incident. Really no need for Adam to hang on the outside there. He'd made a mistake, so sometimes you just got to concede and get on with it. But still plenty of action back in the pack. Jesse Dixon in the thick of things. He's got the lights on. He's, of course, charging from the back after a horrid first race. Looks like he's got a bit of damage to the back of that Ute. Yeah, the rear bumper's dragging along, so hopefully the officials don't see a need to pull him into pit lane to address that issue. But wherever you look in this reverse grid race, there's plenty of action going on.
Not bad from Dixon off the back of the grid. He's up to 18th already here on lap 7, so flying around. This is the battle for the lead. Jared McLeod is defending as hard as he can, but he's got the Rookie of the Year from last year around the outside. We know how aggressive Walton is. He's going to have to give him some racing room here. Through the S's.
What a move by Walton. He's gone from 3rd to 1st. Oh, they're into it. He's got it all locked up. Can he pull it up? He manages to stop it for the corner, so fantastic move from Walton. We know he's aggressive, but look at White now. He's trying to sneak up the inside of McLeod. So McLeod from 1st to 3rd, 4th maybe even in the space of a few corners. And Harris, he's been able to sneak through and sitting nicely in 3rd now.
Well, this has just worked out perfectly for Roll Harris. Everyone around him's bluing, and he's just picking them off one by one. But Chris Walton, he is out the front at the moment and looking very strong. Stephen White, what a weekend for him. Former Holden Young Lion from back in 1997. Had a crack at racing away overseas, trying to make the F1 thing happen in the 90s as the boys back it up through 10 and 11. Bit of damage on the front of Elliot Barber's Ute. And we send him back down the front straight once more, halfway through this race here in Hidden Valley. And the championship leader, Roll Harris, is on a charge, up to 3rd.
He's done a fantastic job so far. Have a look at all these guys just hugging the inside wall down the straight. Definitely a bit of a freight train.
Walton, this is not what you need to do to your tyres, let alone lose the lead of the race, but maybe 2 flat spots to those fronts, I reckon.
Well, he's definitely given it up at turn 1, so Stephen White finds himself in the lead now. And look at Roll Harris just sitting pretty in 2nd spot. He'll be very happy with his progress in this race. Oh, a little bit of a lock-up into turn 5, so he doesn't want to do too much of that, but he definitely looks like he has speed on board that tap-out Falcon.
Will he block? Will he defend? He leaves the door open. Harris locks it up and goes crashing into the door of Stephen White. White will have the position into turn 7, and I think maybe Harris thought, oh, I don't want to go risking this one. He might just give him that spot back.
Yeah, probably not a bad move there by Ryle. It was a bit marginal, that move into the hairpin, so better just to back it off, slip back behind Stephen White, and, you know, he's still got 6 laps to set him up for a pass, so the way he's been able to charge through the field, I think it's only a matter of time before he can find his way past White. Rare Spares replay of this huge lock-up into turn 1 by a race leader, Chris Walton, and there'll be a couple of big flat spots on the front of those Yokohamas.
Still plenty to come from Darwin. This is the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All, and how about this? The battle for the lead rages on in Darwin. Roll Harris up the inside, but he's not going to get it done here. James Moffat, this could be a time-certain race, so he's running out of laps.
Yeah, he has to be careful about that, Ryle, but have a look at all the action further back. Nobody has really been able to get a bit of a break in this race, apart from the front two. Harris has done a great job to get up all the way from 16th to 2nd in this reverse grid race, and he's definitely putting a lot of pressure on our race leader, Stephen White.
He is filling these mirrors right now. White's doing a great job. The side skirt hanging off, the number plate hanging off for Harris. These two have been in the wars. I suppose you kind of have to if you're going to come from the 8th row on the grid to be up into 2nd. Looking back now off the back of Chris Walton.
Trouble here for McLeod. He goes around, looks like he might have got a bit of assistance there, and Andrew Fisher comes along and finishes him off. So disappointing way to finish the race for both those guys. Andrew Fisher busily trying to get the car started again, but look at McLeod.
Oh, he started.
Oh, and plenty of coolant down there at the hairpin, so going to have to be careful for that.
I think that was Spud Wood who nearly came flying up the back of him. There is plenty of coolant there.
Yeah, and Fisher's done for the day, so that's where that cooler will be coming from, the front of that Jesus Falcon. But have a look at this. Who's into the back of him?
Ben Dunn was right up behind him.
Yep, and lucky that not more cars got caught up, and look at poor old Andrew Fisher, just nowhere to go. I know what that feels like, Chad. It's not a very good feeling, A, to be stuck in the middle of the field like Jared was, but also Andrew having nowhere to go. And along he comes and...
Surprise. That is exactly what it looks like when the seas part in front of you. And I suppose you could call it man versus Ute, not man versus wild, but he's pulled off for this one, and a lot of work for the Jesus Racing boys.
But back up the front, still Stephen White holding his own, so he's doing a great job so far.
Watch the coolant straight through it. These Yokohama tyres, you don't want to buzz them too much, especially the back of such a slow corner. Look how busy it is. Still working our way through it. Whack up the back for the 3rd time. We see Donis up the back of Elliot Barber now.
Reece McNally making a nice move up the field as well in that Stratco Commodore. He, of course, coming off his best ever round result at his home event in Perth, so he's continuing the good form that we saw from him in Perth, but back on board now with Dontis in the Auto 1 onboard camera. Oh, a bit of action ahead of us.
That was the Auto 1 Ute being pushed out wide. Adam Marger, one of our rookies. Another Perth racer, just flicking up some of the stones. 1.1 Ks, this long front straight. Is this a chance to slightly relax?
Well, under normal circumstances, yeah, absolutely. But in this reverse grid race, with all the action that's going on, it doesn't look like you're getting much of a chance at all.
Kim Jane keeping it on all 4 wheels through turn 1, unlike last year. He's moved up to 3rd position now. Great result for him. He had a shocker in Adelaide. Started to claw his way back into it in Perth, and this is better stuff from the assassin Kim Jane, a Melbourne man in the famous Bob Jane T-Mart's colours. Ben Dunn still busy at the wheel, and now Reece McNally's going to slip on by. He's got Chucky Baxter behind him as well. Tight stuff through turn 5.
Great move by McNally there. Not easy to go around the outside at turn 5, but he was able to do it. But change for the lead. Our reigning champion has managed to find a way past Stephen White. So all the way from 16th to the lead in this reverse grid race. What an effort by Rail Harris.
That's putting your hand up for the SS Inductions hard charger, but I think Jesse Dixon's also staking his claim for that. He's passed about half the field in this one. Let's see how it worked. He just let the back go through turn 5. He finally succumbed to the pressure.
Yeah, easy to do, especially late in the race as the tyres are getting on. And that's one thing we should talk about, Chad. 4 races this weekend, so the guys have to be conservative on their tyres, and a bit of tyre management will come into play, particularly in race 4 of the weekend. But Ryle Harris, he's managed his tyres perfectly. We're on the final lap now, so can he hold on for a fantastic race 2 victory?
That's David Cedars up the inside of Baxter. He's done quite well. He's managed to find himself up into the top 10 now, considering that he started off the 9th row after a solid second position in that first race. Marjoram. And I think that was Barber as well. So 2 rookies now having a go at each other. And Dontas and Barber, this has gone on the whole race. Auto 1 on board through the S's. Hang on.
Oh, have a look at the front of Barber's thing. There's plenty hanging off it. So he's been in the wars throughout the whole race. Hasn't been afraid to use the bumper, that's for sure.
These two have been banging panels the whole way. And this is good stuff from Elliot Barber. Only a young fella, 22, 23 years old, I think. So we're getting a lot of experience. Nathan Pretty on the outside, so he's going to try and pick up 1 or 2. Jesse Dixon, as well as... He's come through half the field in this one, through turn 7. Final lap, and these guys have got a lot to figure out yet. Nathan Pretty, your round 1 winner. Had a shocker in Perth when they had that valve spring issue, and he's rubbing panels with Dontas. Dixon up the inside. A handful of corners remain. But at the front, Ryle Harris, cool as you like, just kicked his way through from 16th position. Stephen White, fantastic job, a personal best for him, and these boys are still arguing. Dixon rubbing panels with Pretty and Dontas. This is the battle for 12th, believe it or not. They're still arguing over it. Dontas gets there from Pretty and Dixon. That was tight stuff. Jesse Dixon, a sure thing for the SS Inductions hard charger. Here's your top 10. Harris with a great race win. Stephen White, a personal best, along with Kim Jane, his best result of the year. But Kylie Kings with Ryle Harris.
Ryle Harris, you start on 16th on the grid. How did you do that?
I don't know, it was a dream run. Obviously, a couple of guys fell off in front of me, but we had 1 new tyre on the front of the car. A bit of a tactic this weekend, but the car was great. You know, I charged through on the first lap, got about 5 on the first lap. There was a safety car on the restart, I got another 4, and then just picked them off one by one. It was great.
As if the action during the races isn't enough, there's been another twist added to the series this year, a new qualifying format.
Well, it was designed to liven up qualifying a bit and put a bit more tyre strategy to qualifying as well. So we've pretty much adopted the Formula 1 style of qualifying, where we've split quali into 3 different segments. And after the first 10 minutes, we drop off the slowest 12 utes. We then have another 7 minutes where we drop off the next slowest 10 utes. And then the final segment is 5 minutes for the top 10 shootout. And basically they'll get 1 or 2 flying laps in, and that's about it. It brings in a lot of tyre strategy, because the guys that do all 3 qualifying segments then have less tyres to use in the final race than the guys that perhaps come out of the first or second segment. So it plays the strategy all the way through from qualifying right through to the final race over the weekend.
Everyone has to come up with new ideas on when to put their lap times in and when to back off and conserve for tyre wear.
It's like a top 10 shootout virtually. You've got to go out and do 1 lap and do it in 1 lap. So that puts the pressure on a little bit, and if I can remain cool and calm in the car, we'll be fine and it'll suit us. But when I get a little bit stressed, it makes it a little bit harder.
For us that have been in it for 11, 12 years, it just added a new element to it and gave us some new things to think about. So, yeah, I like it.
It's hoped the new format will also see drivers who didn't make the cut work their way through the field during races armed with fresher rubber.
Where we've come from Utes now, we're not just chasing seconds a lap, we're down to kind of hundredths and in some cases thousands of a second a lap between Ford and Holden. It really is intense, and of course 2 or 3 tenths of a second can make really the difference between first on the grid or 10th on the grid.
For more info, head to the V8 Utes website.
Well, qualifying is one thing and racing here in Darwin is another, and so far this weekend it has been wild. The good news is there's still plenty more to come.
You're watching the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. This round we profile Melbourne driver Jared McLeod from the McMahon mining team.
When I'm not racing V8 Utes, I started my career professionally as a V8 supercar mechanic and engineer. So I've done that for about 8 years. So I'm always doing something either with other V8 supercar teams. I do a lot of driver training with the different companies around Australia. memorable incident. In my rookie year, twice last year, I was turned around and ended up facing the oncoming traffic. It happened at Bathurst and it also happened at Barbagallo last year, so they were quite memorable, frightening at the same time.
Jared McLeod there. He's had another wild weekend being turned around twice already, but a personal best in qualifying. Okay, cars are heading out now for the fourth and final race. Moff, let's check out some highlights from race 3.
And again, the big long run into turn 1. But check out Elliot Barber. He made it 4 wide at one stage into turn 1. And somehow they managed to get through. But have a look in the background. One man that didn't get through was Danny Bezadzik. Massive contact with the guardrail. And that ute is out for the rest of the weekend. We've got some great onboard footage coming up. So Wayne Wakefield on the right there, he's clearly in trouble. So Bezadzik trying to go around the outside, but really put him in a position for something like this to happen with Wakefield being in trouble again. We get to see some footage from Chucky Baxter. So Wakefield's probably got a tyre going down or something and just not enough room at that part of the circuit. And have a look at that. But check this out from Gary Baxter. Plucks the gear, presses on, I'm all good. So, yeah, big damage to the guardrail and a tough way for Danny Bezadzik to finish his weekend.
It certainly was. It was a lengthy delay, but when we got back to racing, Raul Harris was at the front of the field. He was being pushed all the way by Kim Jane. I reckon if Jane had a few more laps to work with here, he might have been able to take the lead, but Raul Harris taking his second win for the weekend. He's just in killer form now. Stephen White home for third, which is a great result for him as well. Another podium finish, at least in the racing sense. And Elliot Barber, the rookie, killing it so far. Another good weekend. David Cedars in the top 5 and Jack Elsgood rounding out the top 10. So that is how they look after 3 races. The points from all those 3 races sort out the grid for the 4th and final race.
So no surprise that Raul Harris, our reigning series champion, he'll go from pole position in this final race. Kim Jane alongside him. David Cedars and Stephen White will start from row 2.
Reece McNally continuing his strong form from Perth is up there as well. Further back down the list, Adam Mardram, Andrew Fisher, they've been in the wars this weekend. Cam Wilson having a good result so far. Another one of our rookies, Jared McLeod, just going from bad to worse as well for him as well because, well, down in 21st for this start. So, bit of work to do. Jesse Dixon passed a lot of cars in race 2. Wonder if he can do that again. And good to see Spud Wood off the back of the grid as well, one of the local HQ boys.
So here we are getting set for the 4th and final race of the weekend. And if the first 3 are anything to go by, we should be set for a great race.
So Raul Harris looking good on top of the points. This is as they stand at the moment. Cedars has taken second from McNally, pretty just sneaking back into the top 4. He did lead the championship at one point. Can Cedars save some points? He's starting directly behind the championship leader. The man he's chasing, red lights. The long run into turn 1 for the final time in Darwin begins right now, and a great start for Kim Jane.
Looked like Elliot Barber was a bit eager off the line there. Maybe jumped the start, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But it's Harris and Kim Jane on the run into turn 1. Great start by Jane, but I think it's going to be Harris who can slide up the inside. Have a look at this, Jesse Dixon.
Century batteries on board. He was going very, very late in turn 1. Managed to get that thing pulled up. So far, so good as we slot our way through turn 1, the run up through the S's. It's Harris from Jane. Cedars in third position. He needs to get a few more spots back up. So they jam on the brakes up into turn 5. Oh, no! Huge accident!
Oh, we got a car over.
It's Spud Wood. And Peter Burnett as well has had a massive hit. It looks like he's collected the tyres. This is a serious moment. It was the run up from turn 2 into the S's.
So definitely a safety car, Chad, if not a red flag. But have a look at both those cars. Massive amount of damage. And Spud Wood, well, welcome to V8 Utes, Spud.
Yeah, we'll have to
not
wait.
Not the way you want to
kick it off.
Kick it off, that's for sure. But yeah, Petter's STP safety car out. No surprise about that. And I'm sure we'll get to see a replay of what happened. Have a look at all the tyres from that earth embankment.
Including one foreign Yokohama that's managed to find its way in there. That shouldn't be there. Well, that's Peter Burnett. He's out of his car. Spud Wood's out of his car. That's great. Local racer. He just puts his hand up, says, I'm okay. That was wild. His Williams Race Tech ute was upside down there at one point. Let's see if we can pick apart what happened here. These guys were at the back of the grid, so that's where all the actions happened. Bit of dust going up, Moff, so it's a little bit difficult to see where everyone is. And
Oh, here we go. So looks like Peter Burnett gets a shot from behind, sends him into the tyre barrier, and then, have a look at that. We're not quite sure what happened with Spud Wood. He came in to frame already on his roof. But this might give us a better...
Yeah, this is Jesse Dixon, Century Batteries on board time. He's in behind Cam Wilson, and there goes Burnett.
Oh, and he's lucky to get through that.
I actually ducked my head then when I saw that piece of debris flying towards him. So watch the back. There goes Burnett flying off. Whammo. Back end comes around, front end in, rips the whole tray off the back of the car. And I think for Spud Wood, he was just trying to avoid all the carnage in front of him. Probably tripped over those tyres that were already out on the racetrack as well.
So another angle here. This is Peter Burnett. Oh, hard hit.
He's actually really lucky that no one collected him straight away.
And I think you're right with Spud Wood. He was just trying to avoid it. Got hooked in those tyres. And this is a section of track that has always in the past provided plenty of action. Just the wrong sort of action that Peter Burnett wanted to see. That's nasty indeed. So lots of damage to both those utes. But fortunately, both drivers, we saw them walk away, and that's the main thing. You can fix cars, but you can't fix people.
Well, I'm not sure if that one's going to be fixable because that is a lot of damage, but that's all right. We'll get out there and clean up the racetrack. Good chance now to assess the damage, assess this field. We've got plenty more racing in this final race of the weekend. It's the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. The Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All in Darwin, and they need some protection this weekend because the racing has been wild. The racetrack is clean and ready to go. Raul Harris, your race leader. The safety car will be pulling in this lap, and we don't really know how much time we're going to have out there for this one, so you want to get your move done early.
Absolutely, and restarts are always a good chance to do that. Look at Kim Jane. He's got plenty of experience of restarts from his NASCAR racing background at the Thunderdome, so if there's anybody that should get a good restart, it should be Kimbo. But Raul Harris, he's got the field under control, leads them across the line.
I'll tell you what, Cedar's got a pretty good restart out of third. He might be in a position where he can put some pressure on Kim Jane. He looks up the inside, the run to turn one. Hard on those brakes, and he's managed to sneak up the inside, but Kim Jane, he's racy. The assassin will try and slide it on the outside and hold on.
And we've seen a couple of guys go around the outside at turn one this weekend, but we've got more trouble back in the pack. Jesse Dixon, his weekend goes from bad to worse. It looks like Jeremy Gray caught up in that as well at turn one. So not the restart those guys were hoping for. And Cedars was able to get that pass done on Kim Jane, so important move for the championship.
A bit more stuff to sort out through turn 5. Hard on the brakes into turn 6. Reece McNally slots in behind Stephen White. He's having a killer weekend so far. Chucky Baxter's losing a few points towards the back, and Andrew Fisher, who had a DNF early this weekend as well.
So that's been a pretty good recovery for Fisher and the Jesus Falcon, and him and Baxter, two of the series' most experienced racers. They're going at it through turn 7.
Jack Elsgood in there behind them as well. Here is the Heyman Reese car of Jesse Dixon, and he actually drove the truck all the way up to Darwin from Sydney this weekend. Here we go. Let's have a look at a replay. This is him going very, very late. Oh, and absolutely clouts Jeremy Gray into turn 1. Cam Wilson was trying to just keep his nose clean of all this.
So on board with Dixon, and really having seen that, what was he thinking? Absolutely no chance of pulling that car up, and Jeremy Gray was the innocent bystander and all that. Now Jack Elsgood troubles under brakes into turn 1, narrowly misses the back of Andrew Fisher. He's going to run wide and lose several positions out of that. So the fourth and final race, their boys are definitely getting stuck in. But Raul Harris, our championship leader, he's certainly showing them the way at the moment. But Cedars looks like he's got some good speed on board that number 7 Falcon, obviously running that number in tribute to the late, great Rodney Crick.
6-time Super Truck champion. A bit bigger than the Utes, the Super Trucks. And they certainly had their time in the sun back in the 90s. A great series, and Rodney Crick was a great truck driver. So paying tribute with the number 7 and the Captain Kangaroo nickname this weekend. And he would love a win to honour the memory of Rodney Crick. Raul Harris is going to make his Ute as wide as possible.
Certainly not a strange sight to see these two guys at the front of a V8 Ute field. They, of course, went for the championship together last year, and it was Raul Harris that came out on tops at the final round. But look at him, he's going defensive already down the front straight, so he knows he's got his work cut out for him in this fourth and final race.
Kim Jane sitting in third, and Pither just falling off the back of them at the moment. I wonder if his tyres are starting to go off. It's been a long one, but there has been a few safety car periods here this weekend, so maybe the tyre degradation has been quite as bad as they thought it would be. Hugging that inside line and making sure there's no chance of the switchback. That's some pretty good defensive driving.
Yeah, and have a look at Kim Jane. He's ranging up on the back of the 2 leaders now. But on board with Craig Donis and the Thirsty Camel Commodore, chasing down Reece McNally. Another solid weekend from McNally and the Stratco Commodore. So good weekend for points in his championship assault.
This is the battle at the front, just pinching one of those tyres. I think it might have been the left front on the entrance to turn 6. A bit further back, there's a bit more pushing and shoving going on. Chucky Baxter's in the middle of it. So we work this big field through, 31 cars this weekend, but it slowly got tinkered away, especially after a couple of huge accidents that we've seen, especially in race 3 and 4. Okay, here we go. Chris Walton now working away at the back of Cam Wilson.
And it's been a quiet weekend for Walton by his standards. We saw him caught up in a bit of action in race 1 and 2. And have a look at Wilson. The back of that ute is all over the place through turns 10 and 11.
Vogue Financial on board. You can see just how wild these utes do get when the tyres start to go off. You've got no weight in the back as it is. He's going to try and get that run into turn 1. This is your battle pack at the front. Harris, once again, being very defensive. He's got good reason to win here this weekend outside of the championship. The CEO of Hardcore Beverages, which is the parent company to Tap Out Energy, watching him here this weekend, and there's nothing better than winning in front of the sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit of extra incentive there for Ryle, and of course he's coming off the round win here last year, so we know he's quick around Darwin, and it was a similar scenario with these two going at it in the 4th and final race last year. So they're providing great entertainment up the front of the field, and Pither now coming on strong in what is usually Tony Longhurst's Commodore, and he has a bit of a look up the inside into the hairpin. Kim Jane gives him a bit of room.
You can see how wild these things are starting to get already when these Yokohamas go off towards the end of race 4. At the end of the weekend, it's wild stuff, and that's exactly the way I think that Royal Harris likes to drive these cars. Once again, here we go. SS Induction's on board with Pither. He's in 4th position, winner of race 1, your pole man for the weekend. He got off the plane midnight pretty much Friday, came to the track, was quick in practice, puts the car on pole, takes a race win. The only man to win both the V8 Ute Series in New Zealand and Australia, so he's got the yards and got the runs on the board.
He's certainly starting to work over the back of that Bob Jane T-Mart's Ute, that's for sure. He's got the lights on, so he means business. Can he find a way past Kim Jane? He's going to have a look into turn 1 this time, but Kimbo very deep on the brakes. So Pither just can't find a way past on this occasion.
The final lap this time by, so the race has been shortened, time certain, because we did lose a few laps behind the safety car with the big accident. The good news is there's still a few chances to pass around this Hidden Valley circuit.
So the pressure really on Ryle Harris now. All he has to do is drive a nice, clean, tidy lap, and the win should be his, but Cedars won't give up without a fight.
Turn 6, a huge passing opportunity. He blocks to the left. Cedars, can he get the crossover? He just takes that mid-corner speed off perfectly, doesn't he, Roll Harris?
Yeah, so now he's really got to concentrate on a good run through turn 7. And if he can get a nice exit out of here, that's really probably it for Cedars, unless Harris makes a mistake, which I don't think he will because he's driven perfectly all weekend. So through all, Cedars raging up on the back of him now. So one final opportunity for Cedars to have a go into the last corner, but Harris, he's wise to it, defends his line.
He just took that shallow line through and did it well. The run to the checkered flag. 3 race wins this weekend, and for the 2nd year in a row, Royal Harris is King of the North. Takes the checkered flag and a race win ahead of the man who's 2nd in the championship. 3 race wins in a weekend. It's something that he achieved before on the Gold Coast back in 2011. 3 out of 4 races, though, because there was the 4th race here this weekend. But what a fantastic result for the Tap Out Energy Ute, and let it all hang out.
So a bit of a celebratory drift for Harris there. Stephen White, he had a really solid weekend, coming home 5th in that final race. Ryan Hansford rounds out the top 10.
Elliot Barber, so strong all weekend, a 6th for him there. Chris Pither, hasn't he had a strong weekend? He was 4th in that final race. So Royal Harris, what a great weekend. He finished 10 points clear of Kim Jane, his best result for the season. Pither there in the top 5 as well for the weekend. Kylie Kings with our race winner.
Ryle Harris, you've just showed him how it's done. A great weekend for you.
3 out of 4, you can't really complain about that. But, we're leading the championship. We've just extended our lead.
And bring on Townsville.
Definitely bring on Townsville. Queensland, a home race. Obviously, Gold Coast is our home race, but, I'll be going for it, doing it for the Queenslanders.
He has a very commanding lead now in the NZ Championship point score. Nathan Pretty was your championship leader. After round 1, he's slowly falling away from the leaders. Elliot Barber all the way up into 6th. And good to see Kim Jane and Stephen White now breaking into the top 10. The SS Inductions Hard Charger Award goes to Jesse Dixon for his barnstorming drive in race number 2. He was certainly bashing and crashing his way through the field, but unfortunately drops outside the top 3 for our Yokohama rookie point score. Elliot Barber with a commanding lead over Adam Marjoram. The next time we see the Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All will be up in Townsville, where it's still nice and sunny and warm in the middle of winter, 5th and 7th of July. You want to be up there to check that one out. Ryle Harris, once again, victorious in Darwin from Kim Jane and David Cedars. What a strong weekend for these three. Fantastic racing and some big heavy hits from the Auto 1 V8 Utes this weekend. From myself, Chad Naylon, a big thanks to James Moffat and the entire crew this weekend. It's been a busy one. There's been some carnage, some very big hits. We can't wait to see the Utes back on track once again. At the last round in Darwin, the Ute boys tore up the track and each other.
Oh, they're into it.
Huge accident.
Oh, we've got a car over.
Now they're about to take to the streets of Townsville. And here, the concrete is even closer.
Well, plenty of action and drama in the last round in Darwin, but the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series is back on the track this weekend. It's round 4, the halfway mark, here in Townsville, Queensland. This man, Ryle Harris, is getting ready to ride. Reigning champion in car number 1, and he leads the points in 2013. 5 Fords and 5 Holdens in the top 10 of the championship, so the parity is certainly right. We weren't here last year in Townsville, and in fact, the drivers that finished on the podium in 2011 are no longer in the series, so the door is open for plenty of action this weekend.
Heading into the midpoint of the season, there's a championship-leading trio who are proving tough to topple. After winning 3 out of 4 races at the last round, Ryle Harris is beginning to clear away on points. But New South Welshman David Cedars is not far behind, and surprise packet Reece McNally continued to show good form in Darwin to still be within reach of the leader. But there's a pack of hungry Ute drivers determined to rein them in. Heading the charge is Ute veteran Gary Baxter. In his final year, he's sitting 5th and happy to be in the hunt.
I've forgotten all about the fact it's a final year. I just want to beat them. I just want to go away and then pass them in the street and they look at me and go, gee, that old bloke used to drive all right.
And 2011 Rookie of the Year Ryan Hansford sits 8th in the points, but importantly hasn't had a race win since Darwin last year.
We're under a bit of pressure to have a breakthrough win, really. We've been in the series now. This is the 3rd year. So I was thinking that before I came in this weekend. It's really a good chance to step up, and we've made some more adjustments on the car, so hopefully they're going to be all right this weekend, and then we can give it a good shot.
One driver who's relishing a return to Townsville is Craig Dontis. The seasoned campaigner had one of his best rounds at the street circuit last time here and hopes another good outing will throw a curveball at the championship leaders.
In the past, for some reason, people tend to go a bit haywire here. I think we had the 2 championship leaders take each other out, or take themselves out at the last one in 2011. So hopefully we can come through like Stephen Bradbury and maybe win a race. And look, obviously we want to do it on outright speed too. So it's for us, we're going to pull our finger out a bit too and actually pedal the thing a bit faster and get some results on merit. But we'll be right. We'll be up the front this weekend. We'll give it a good shot.
Tony Longhurst returns after missing the last round in Darwin with an injury. He's hoping to rekindle some of the form that saw him rubbing shoulders with the series leaders in Perth.
I know they're beatable, but you've just got to have everything right. You've got to be right in the mind, right in the car. The car's got to be set up right. And like I said, they're specialists in this series now, and the top 3 or 4 guys are super, super good. So that's a challenge.
After some frightening crashes and bashes in Darwin, including a rollover, the Utes of John Wood and Danny Bazadzik couldn't be repaired in time for this round. While others involved in the mayhem will make it to the grid for Townsville, it remains a talking point.
There was a lot of carnage. At one stage there, my teammate turned around the guy in front of him. It was Jared McLeod, and I was tucked up in behind Craig Dontis, and all of a sudden, it all opened up in front of me, nowhere to go, and I've just collected Jared into the side of the car, and he felt dreadful. Poor Jared. He's actually sent me a Facebook message even before I got back to the pit saying, sorry, mate.
Now confronted with the tight confines of a street circuit, there's bound to be more door-to-door action amid some fierce Holden versus Ford V8 Ute racing.
To the NZ Drivers' Championship after Darwin. Royal Harris has a great lead now, 29 points, still pretty tight. Reece McNally there in third. Nathan Pretty was leading the series earlier in the year. Elliot Barber, the number one rookie so far in 2013. Armour All pole position winner. Well, he wasn't quickest in the first two sessions. That was Kim Jane, but when it mattered, Nathan Pretty, by just 0.08 of a second, took out the Armour All pole position money, $1,000, going the way of the Milwaukee Power Tools entry. So it's nearly time to unleash the Utes around this 2.86 kilometre circuit here in Townsville. It's the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All.
You're watching the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. This round, we profile Muswellbrook driver Jeremy Gray from JMG Racing.
Yeah, I got into V8 Ute racing. It was a long process to get here. I started on motorbikes. I've always enjoyed motorsport, and I started really late. The most memorable moment in V8 Utes is probably here at Townsville. Our first year, we're in a Rockstar Ute, and bam, we won a race, and we got on the podium in third spot. So that was probably the best part of my career so far in V8 Ute racing. Greatest rival in V8 Ute race, and I think there's a bit of a thing going around. If Jeremy Gray gets behind someone, everyone goes, oh no, Jeremy's behind me, so I'm probably everyone else's greatest rival.
Jeremy lost it. Gray there, a former race winner of the reverse grid race here in Townsville, which is exactly, James Moffat, what we're about to get ourselves into.
And it always provides plenty of action, Chad, but before we get into the reverse grid race, we've got to have a look at the highlights of race one.
So Nathan Pretty left of screen on the front row alongside Kim, the assassin Jane, and it was Jane who swung through at turn one, a very fast entry, and then hard on the brakes into turn two.
So great start by Kimbo, led the field into turn one. 30 Utes here this weekend at Townsville. Marjoram in the Auto 1 Ute ran wide, lost a couple of positions, but have a look at this slow-mo. Kim Jane using the curbs at turn 5, which is something you have to do here at Townsville to be fast.
One hand out the window. Kim, the assassin Jane, takes out race number one for us there. He was pretty excited about that, as he would be. His first race win of the season, first since Perth. Nathan Pretty home for second. David Cedars followed by Royal Harris. But Kim Jane, that's a very strong win for him.
Oh, it's very sweet. You know, we started off the year so badly at Clipsal, and we started getting together by when we went to Perth. Darwin, we came away with a podium finish in second, and to qualify on the front row today and to get the lead in the first race and win it. It's been a lot of hard work, and the team, we're all just ecstatic.
He's had that Ute on display at the Holiday Inn here in Townsville all week, as a matter of fact. Most of these Utes made their way straight across from Darwin. We reversed the top 11 from race number one, which is why we've got Adam Marjoram and Stephen White off the front row. But another strong rookie in there, Elliot Barber, he's off the second row.
Yeah, watch for him. He's been fast all year. But have a look at our heavy hitters in the championship. Royal Harris, David Cedars and Nathan Pretty coming off rows 4 and 5 for this race.
Great to have the Utes back here in Townsville. They weren't here last year, Andrew Fisher and Kim Jane. So there's Kim Jane out of position number 11. Jared McLeod and Jeremy Gray only just missing that invert. Reece McNally and some other big names down the field, including Wayne Wakefield, who got turned around in race number one.
And have a look for Jesse Dixon and Tony Longhurst starting on the back row of the grid. They'll be fast and charging through the field.
Yeah, Dixon unfortunately a DNF in the first race. Lap one damage. Tony Longhurst sent to the rear of the field for not obeying his drive-through penalty that he got for passing under the yellow flag. So watch for those guys off the back. But it's Marjoram, Stephen White, teammates on the front row. The red light, it's the reverse grid race here in Townsville. And away we go. Marjoram, not a bad start, but it's Stephen White who's going to maybe get the jump from the go. Walton and Cedars and Barber are all in the middle of this one as well. Grab a gear, throw it into turn one, and who's going to win this race into turn two?
Great start by White Dog, Stephen White. He leads the field into turn two for the first time. Always plenty of action here at Townsville into turn two. can they get through the first lap cleanly?
Nathan Pretty, a great start. We're riding on board with Craig Dontis. Everybody trying to find that little bit of room. Stephen White, the Dunlop Super Dealer Ute, is well out in front. Dontis had him locked up. Contact, we got mirrors going everywhere. A little bit of damage. That was Jane going over the grass to try and stay out of it. Ryle Harris is just going to slot in front of him. Here we go, turn 5, fast part of the circuit.
Stephen White doing a great job so far. He's got a handy lead already, but a bit more action further back in the pack. Kim Jane, our race 1 winner, trying to charge through. Talking about charging through, it's Harris, the championship leader, up the inside of Fisher into turn 7.
The X-Force on board showing that shot perfectly. It's also showing the damage hanging off Ben Wilson's car. He's got a lot of damage to the right front. Here comes Elliot Barber. Late move under brakes. Can he get this thing pulled up? Yes, puts Gary Baxter down a spot. Gave him some racing room on the outside. Oh, did he?
Not on the exit. Gave him a hip and shoulder. Baxter won't be happy with that. Now he has to defend from Chris Walton into the final corner, but he should be able to hold on to that position.
Maybe a switchback coming. Baxter did well to just wipe off that mid-corner speed. It kind of stopped Chris Walton's exit speed. So Barber now will bring home this first lap in 3rd position. Not a bad start. So we've got rookies in 2nd and 3rd. They're chasing down the former Holden Young Lion driver of Stephen White. Yellow flags down here.
Already, so safety car out on the circuit. Not quite sure what that's for, but here we go.
It'll be Grant Bromley. He's had an absolute torrid weekend. He's had some help from heat treatment. They've been very patient with this car. Unfortunately, electrical issues has hampered their weekend. Now, what's happened here? Auto 1 replay time. The run down to turn 3, this is.
So Pretty and Hansford getting into it into turn 3. Kim Jane has to bail over the curb to avoid getting into the back of somebody. Dondas, too, up the inside of Cedars. Narrowly avoids the back of the Milwaukee Commodore.
And this would also be another reason for the safety car. Headlight coming off. It's a usual thing that we see safety cars in the reverse grid race, isn't it, Moff? As we get another replay, this was Harris. Keep an eye out for this one. And there's Ben Wilson.
Oh, and around goes Bromley. Oh, so very lucky not to get hit by anybody.
It's a frightening moment for Grant Bromley facing the wrong way. So the Petters STP safety car out on track. It's the Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All. Welcome back to the streets of Townsville. Reed Park is the location. Race number 2 of the Auto 1 V8 Utes, and we're back to green flag racing. Stephen White getting a good jump from the restart. And that's Adam Marjoram slotting into 2nd position, on board for a personal best for both these two at the moment.
Oh, big lock-up by Ryan Hansford into turn 2, following his teammate Chris Walton, so he would have been mindful of not wanting to get into the back of his teammate Walton. But Stephen White leading the field again on this restart.
Stephen White had such a good weekend up in Darwin. He was finishing in the top 3 on a couple of occasions, nearly held on for a race win, but Ryle Harris just managed to chase him down. Can he hold on for this one? He's got a couple of very young, fast guys behind him. There's Ben Wilson making his return to the series. His brother Cam's out there as well.
On board now with Andrew Fisher through turns 5 and 6. Great part of the circuit here at Townsville. And now into a very technical area of the track. Turns 7 and 8. Have to use the curb, particularly at turn 7. And now trying to put the power down out of turn 8. Very difficult because it's a long, loaded corner. And this, my favourite section of the track, turn 10, over the bumps, very fast. And these V8 Utes, they love this Townsville street circuit.
McLeod up the inside. Oh, looks like Peter Burnett with a lot of smoke at the back. He had some dramas in Darwin after a couple of big accidents up there, riding the X-Force on board. Andrew Fisher looking out the back. Love this view.
Oh, and a big move by Graham Edwards up the inside of Jared McLeod in the last corner. But back at the front of the field with Stephen White, just doing all he needs to do at the moment to stay out in front of the field.
Elliot Barber in the cool sport, number 7. He's the 3rd different Ute to sport the number 7 so far this year, after Jeremy Gray had it at one point. And then David Cedars ran that number in Darwin.
And of course, Chad, David Cedars ran that number 7 in Darwin in tribute to the late, great Rodney Crick. But now on board with Craig Donnis in the Thirsty Camel Commodore, following Nathan Pretty, our pole position winner. Oh, and a big moment for Pretty on the exit of turn 3. Don't know how he kept it off the wall, but he just managed to. So that would have been a scary moment inside that Milwaukee Commodore.
Well, for Pretty, this is his worst set of tyres for the weekend, trying to use them in this second race, knowing that he'll have traffic, knowing that there's likely to be safety cars, and try and reserve some good tyres for the end. Now, Cedars and James struggling to really pull their way through the field here, just struggling around the end of the top 10 where Pretty's actually made a few more spots up. Following Ben Wilson, subbing in for Jack Elsgood, a man who's had so much success at this track.
All over the back of Wilson now through turn 10. Fisher having a look up the inside into turn 11. One of the best passing opportunities here at Townsville. Not quite far enough up the inside for him to get that move done, but he's putting plenty of pressure on the back of Wilson.
Good to see Ben Wilson back, brother of Cam, like we said earlier. Cam had some issues overnight, actually having to replace the motor in the number 24. Here's Cedars. Race winner in Perth, round in Barbagallo, round number 2, and Kim Jane, the race 1 winner. So a couple guys looking to improve their championship position. For Cedars, he did remain pretty strong in Darwin as well. Up comes Fisher. Late braking. Just got that thing stopped.
Yeah, he had the rear brakes locked. He was right on the limit there of the braking limits of this car. But now Wilson, he's going to be able to get back up the inside into turn 3. Got the crossover or the switchback on Fisher. So Fisher's got all that work to do again of trying to get past Wilson. I think Wilson gave him a bit of a wave there on the exit of turn 3. So a bit cheeky there by Wilson, but a good battle.
This is the battle at the front, and this is our pole man in the Milwaukee Power Tools Commodore. Nathan Pretty trying to find his way through this field. And Roll Harris, the championship leader. Hasn't been an overly strong weekend for him, but he's still collecting the points like the true champ that he is in the tap-out entry. Dontas goes to block. Oh, Harris gets super aggressive. Wasn't going to happen there.
So Dontas, poor run out of turn 8 and 9. That made him vulnerable through turn 11. Harris had a go, but Dontas protected his line. A bit more action further up the field. Pretty's been able to get around Ryan Hansford, so his march through the field continues. So far, so good for Nathan Pretty.
This is looking very, very good for the 39-year-old from Melbourne. It'll be his birthday, actually, later in the week. And already, he's flying through this field and looking good for a front row start, given the big bag of points that he's collected so far this weekend. Blocking up the inside there. Dontas is going to get a bit of a bump and run here from Harris. I feel like using a bit of muscle to get through.
So Ryle not very happy with the treatment he's copping from Dontas. Just letting me know that with a bit of a tap and a bit of action further back in the field here. Jesse Dixon on his march through the field. We said he was starting from the back row of the grid and he'd be one to watch. Here we go now, replay of Dontas defensive with Harris, and Harris just gives him a bit of a shove just to let him know that he's there.
These reverse grid races, you've got to do whatever you can to find your way through. The Jesus Racing entry, Andrew Fisher bouncing off the curbs. We're going to bounce off to an ad break. The Auto 1 V8 Utes Series, protected by Armorall. We're back in a sec. Tearing up the streets of Townsville, lap number 8 of 13, the Auto 1 V8 Utes Series, protected by Armorall. Your leader, Stephen White from Adam Marjoram and Elliot Barber.
Oh, big amount of curb there by Stephen White through turn 5.
Maximum part of commitment through there is just incredible. All over the wheel. Here we go. On board with Elliot Barber. Vogue Financial on board following Marjoram. Takes some curb. It unsettles the Ute.
Yeah, so saw Marjoram just too much curb at turn 7. That threw the car sideways, and that's made him a bit vulnerable to Barber now into turn 11 because of his poor exit out of 8. Barber showing the nose into turn 11. Oh, a bit of a lock-up by Marjoram, and he throws that position away. So Barber shoots through to P2. But Marjoram, he's not giving up this position without a fight.
That's a pretty brave spot to try and get the move back through turn 12. Now Walton's jumped onto the back of this one, so this is good. These two rookies have been turning on this year with Jesse Dixon, and now they've got last year's Rookie of the Year chasing them down. The front straight, Stephen White's managed to open up a little bit of a gap as these two start to brawl behind him. Pushing 190, 200 k's an hour. Barber goes to block. Oh, contact! Marjoram turns him round. Can he hang on to it? He kicks it off the wall. They nearly hit. Oh, what a save.
What a save by Barber. An absolute miracle that none of those cars ended it in the concrete wall. But I don't know what Marjoram was thinking.
Barber comes across, more contact. Oh, the gloves are off in Townsville. Marjoram and Barber. The Auto 1 Ute, the Cool Sport Ford as well, going at it right now. Holden versus Ford. Pretty's onto the back of this. Hansford as well. This isn't over.
Nathan Pretty now having a look up the inside at turn 5, but Barber, that ute is all over the place, holding on. Pretty now up the inside into turn 7. Should be able to get the pass done. And have a look at Ryan Hansford. He's trying to find a way through as well. But Elliot Barber, man, that was a massive moment into turn 2.
It's a huge lose, and the bad news is he's wounded. He's badly wounded. These tyres are absolutely haggard. And now look at them queuing up for a go. We've got Hansford in this. Dontus.
I'd say Barber would have 4 pretty decent flat spots on those tyres after a moment like that.
Just lucky that the front and back isn't completely front spot. I'm talking about the bumpers and the
He's lucky that he's still going.
It's
full stop,
amazing.
isn't he? But here we go. Massive misjudgment by Marjoram. Just flat out mistimed that and into the back of Barber. Huge moment, and lucky that neither of them ended up in the concrete wall.
Here we go.
This will be a good shot.
On board Elliot Barber.
Barber just minding his own business. Big shot from behind. How he kept it off the concrete, I do not know. But I dare say there might be a bit of a penalty coming for Marjoram.
And right you are, as a matter of fact, off drive-through penalty for the Auto 1 Ute, so that's disappointing. It was going to be such a strong result, his best result of the year for Adam Marjoram. And just the tiniest mistakes, he just misjudged it ever so slightly, racing hard. And unfortunately, that's going to cost him a spot in the top 5. He'll fall way down the order. But Barber now has issues still with this car trying to get it handling correctly with these kind of flat spots. Must just be an absolute tough shot.
Well, he's got Ryan Hansford all over the back of him, so he's got to worry about that. Oh, we got the hand up from Craig Dondas, so we saw him have a bit of a wiggle coming onto the straight, so maybe Ryle Harris into the back of that thirsty Camel Commodore again, and that's given Kim Jane a run around the outside.
Kim Jane, who's going to be first to blink. Harris, so late under brakes, slides the thing in. That's called backing it in. And this is still on here because now Cetus is going to get a bit of a run on both of them. Barber.
So Harris getting very frustrated. Didn't know that Kim Jane was on his outside and squeezed him for room. Have a look at the front of the tap-out Falcon. It's certainly beat up at the moment. So the championship leader getting a bit hot under the collar.
X-Force on board. We're following Kim Jane and the Bob Jane T-Mart's Commodore. Turns 5 and 6. Quick dab of the brakes. The rear end steps out once more. Harris and Dontas, well, they've separated slightly. And this is Barber and Hansford. Hansford is trying to work. Barber wide through 9. Gets it done.
Yeah, can't hold on around the outside of turn 10. Just too fast a section of the track, and Hansford up the inside, so Barber's had to give that position away. But I reckon this little battle between Craig Donnas and Ryle Harris isn't quite over yet, even though Donnas in this last lap has got a bit of a gap.
The reverse grid race, absolutely turning on the action. We only reversed the top 11, which is quite a low number considering we turned around something like 18 up in Darwin.
And we're on board with the man that just missed out on pole position. He finished 12th in the first race. So how dirty would you be on that? Just missing out on the invert by 1 position. And this battle between Harris, Cedars and Jane is heating up, and Harris going defensive into turn 2. Bit of moving around in the braking zone there, so some very late moves, and now Kim Jane a run on Cedars out of the corner.
Rubbin's racing, but this race too has just gone off. Now Fisher's on the back of these two as well. Jane over that big bump at the exit of turn 3, swinging through this fast area, turn 4.
Great 6 in the track through here, Chad. Turn 5 and 6, and have a look at Jane. He's
lost it.
Out of control. Big moment through turn 5. Lucky to hold on to it.
Massive oversteer. And he doesn't even lose a position. Oh, Fisher might though. No, he managed to just get that thing turned in at turn 7. Wild moment for the Bob Jane T-Mart's ute.
We're on board with Fisher at the perfect time to see all that action happen. So Kim Jane, lucky to still be going after a moment like that. But it just shows you, Chad, how hard these guys are pushing in this reverse grid race. They know that every point counts for what is the grid position for the 3rd and final race.
Final lap now for your race leader, Stephen White. He's won some pretty big races before, but he's not won one in this series yet. He's raced open wheelers in Europe and actually won at tracks like Donington Park in the UK, so this will be a pretty special moment for him. One last lap he needs to hold on.
And this backs up the good form that he showed last round out at Darwin. So all he needs to do is hold on for this final lap, and he should have a great starting position for himself in the third and final race.
Here comes the walking wounded, being led by Roll Harris. Just about everybody here, including Ben Wilson's missing something this last lap. They'll need all the time they can get to get these things turned back around for race number 3. So it's White from Walton. Baxter on for a good result as well, doing his championship charge, no harm.
And how about Chucky Baxter? This weekend he equals Jack Elsgood for the most amount of round starts in V8 Utes. And have a listen to this, 84 rounds he's contested. So great effort there for Chucky Baxter and putting in a good showing.
Good way to celebrate it. With a top 3 result, potentially, if he can just hold on for these last few corners. Stephen White, turn 11. Looks like he's gone into conservation mode here, just trying to save these Yokohama tyres. For the last race, we only get a certain amount of, a very small allocation as well for the whole weekend, so you've really got to protect your tyres. The amount of sideways driving going on out there, it doesn't look like there's been a lot of conservation going on. Last corner, here we go. He'll become the 7th different winner this season in the 12th race that we've had so far. At round number 4 in Townsville, Stephen White joins the winners list. What a fantastic job. He brings the Dunlop Super Dealer Commodore home in first position for the Erebus team, prepped by Williams Race Tech, and it's still going on for these minor positions.
Have a look in the background there, Chad. McDonald, Ben Wilson and Jared McLeod all fighting over position 13. And it looks like McDonald just gets Wilson at the line.
Good racing, good to see McDonald back in the category as well. Another man who's hopped in for this weekend. So Stephen White in the 12th race of the season. We now split them evenly, 6 to the Fords and 6 to the Holdens. Gary Baxter, strong result. Nathan Pretty, big bag of points for him here this weekend. Andrew Fisher, home in 11th. Wow, wasn't he busy in that race. Jesse Dixon, 18th, past 12 cars. Looking good for the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award. But Stephen White, his first win, I bet he's excited. He's with Kylie King right now.
Stephen, it's your rookie year in this category and a breakthrough win, a great effort.
Thanks very much, Kylie. It is. It's really a team effort. Everyone's worked really hard, and even though it was a reverse grid race, there was still 11 great drivers up the top of the field, and our goal was really just to come home strong. We just need to be patient on race weekends and let them come to us, and you know, got to learn the circuit, learn the car around the circuit, get a good setup, and as the weekends go on, we're getting more pace, so we're stoked.
Well done, Stephen White. Well, it's been a pretty action-packed weekend so far, and you get the feeling there's still plenty more to come in the third and final race. It's the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All.
You're watching the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. While ute action on the track is always frantic, action inside the ute is also busy, with drivers constantly changing gears to put in fast lap times. Among the components that stand up to the challenge are rip-shift manual shifters, designed by V8 Ute competitor Fonzie Mullen.
Basically what we did was we made a spring mechanism and helped the driver assist from second or third gear. So basically he just turns his palm, hits the lever, and it does the cross gate for you. So yeah, it works quite well.
Shifters have all been upgraded with heavier springs since the Perth round, and the Ford shifter, which combines a gear lever all in one piece, has also been developed. The rip shift improves shift time without straining the gearbox.
It's good. It's a lot better driving with the rip shift and helps, definitely get through the gears in the tough moments.
For more info, head to the V8 Utes website.
Cars out on track for the third and final race here at Townsville this weekend. It's been a good one so far. And off the front row, I'm looking forward to this one because it's going to be Pretty versus Kim Jane. But how about this? Problems for Ryan Rhino Hansford on the grid.
So really disappointing for Hansford. Not quite sure what the drama is. Might be a bit of a clutch issue with that truck line forward, but either way, he's going to have to start this race from the back of the grid when normally he would have been starting out of P7.
So it'll be Pretty from pole position, just like he was in race 1, but Kim Jane beat him down into turn 2, remember, last time out. So further down through the field, Andrew Fisher. Jared McLeod staying out of trouble, having a fairly good race weekend so far. Graham Edwards, Gary McDonald, a couple guys that are rejoining the field this weekend. Adam Marjoram, a bit stiff to get penalised in that first one, or it was a pretty big contact, so he'll be starting a bit further down the order.
Tough weekend for Reece McNally too. Third in the championship coming into the weekend. He starts out as 16. Peter Burnett off the back row of the grid, but now ready for the all-important start. Who's going to win the drag race down to turn 2? Will it be Pretty or will it be Jane?
Away we go. Nathan Pretty looked like it just walked a little bit off the line. He's been having a bit of clutch slip off the start line so far this weekend. Yellow flags at the back. I think that might have been for Hansford, but this is going to be tight. Through turn 1, Kim Jane on the outside. Oh, contact in the middle of the field. It's Elliot Barber with the Vogue Financial on board. That could have been huge. Cedars is on the outside, but I think Pretty might have actually held on for the race lead. Jeremy Gray running it wide, and Pretty does have the lead. That's big.
So they all managed to get through turn 2 cleanly. But drama's here. Craig Donis and David Cedars, and around goes Cedars. So this has big championship implications.
Oh, he's in the middle of the track. Surely, bang, yes.
Fonzie Mullen cleans him up in the High-Tech Oils Commodore. So David Cedars, disappointing start to race 3. But have a look up the front. It's Pretty leading White through turn 7 and 8.
Kim Jane slotted down to 3rd. What a great start for Stephen White. Off that big race win in race number 2, Cam Wilson, sporting the number 24. This weekend he goes toe-to-toe with Adam Marjoram, who's out in the dust. Elliot Barber taking this one from way back. He's locked him up. Look out. Oh, it's his teammate. He's hit Fisher at turn 11. He's turned the Jesus Racing Ute around. Oh, trouble. And Fisher did a great job to get out of that situation. Barber started that one from way back. Auto 1 replay off. What happened here?
So have a look at Barber in the middle, gets squeezed by Jared McLeod. So we've seen Barber already have dramas at that part of the track this weekend. Now into turn 3, and look at Dondas leading on David Cedars. Around goes Cedars, second in the championship. Most of the field manages to miss him. Fonzie Mullen just making contact with him. But here, this is a big one. Into turn 11. And Elliot Barber, out of control, nails the back of Andrew Fisher. And have a look, listen to him light it up, say, be a bit angry, bit of steam underneath the helmet there. So never ideal for the two teammates to get together.
So managed to get that thing back out there, and we've stayed green, no safety car. So everyone who was stranded on the tracks managed to get it pointed back in the right direction. Stephen White putting a bit of pressure on to our race leader now. As, oh no, this is Elliot Barber. Big damage to the front of the Ute. What's happened there? So he's having a tough weekend, poor Elliot Barber.
He's certainly been in the thick of the action for good or bad. But Pretty now just trying to stretch the legs now on the Milwaukee Commodore. Stephen White continuing his good form from race 2.
Kim Jane will be absolutely desperate to get around him here, because he'll know that Nathan Pretty, with clean racetrack in front of him and about 8 laps, could just about pull away from him. So he needs to get the job done on Stephen White, if he can.
Baxter now having a look at Chris Walton for 4th in the background there. Will he have a look up the inside into turn 2? Sticks the nose up the inside of the Sage Commodore and through Cubs Harris as well. He says, thank you very much. I'll try and have a bit of that. Can't quite get past Walton though.
That was brilliant. Walton was swinging out wide to try the cutback or the exit, the old crisscross, and Harris said, I'll pull that cap. Oh, here we go. Now this is Elliot Barber, Vogue Financial on board. Oh, whack.
Lost the rear on entry to turn 5. Very easy to do that, but into the tyre wall he went. So fortunately, he hit the tyre wall, not the concrete wall, as Harris gets through on Walton. So our championship leader, bit of surgery to the front of that Falcon between races. He's got a white front bar on it. I'm pretty sure it was black in the second race. But anyway, he's up to P5. Good championship position for him.
He's had some internal surgery as well, as we actually go for a ride rare spares with Craig Dontis. Harris had to get the clutch replaced before this last race. Just made it out onto the grid. So a hectic weekend for your championship leader, but he's still at the front of the field, at least top 5 at the moment. Reece McNally trying to catch these guys as well, so he's starting to find a bit of form. Started further back, and here he is pushing around the top 10 as well, so that's pretty good stuff for Reece.
Important now for Ryle Harris to really consolidate on the position he finds himself in. His main championship rival, David Cedars, obviously we saw the drama at turn 3. So really good opportunity for Harris to get some good points on Cedars this weekend.
Craig Donis and the Thirsty Camel crew. Craig's Nana lives up here in Townsville, 91 years young. Part of the Green Army, says Craig. It's his teammate who's out front at the moment. Nathan Pretty doing it strong in the Milwaukee Tools Ute. Oh, such such a great part of racetrack, this quick hands.
Will definitely be interesting to see if anything comes of the incident between Cedars and Dondas on that opening lap. Obviously, Cedars come off for worse in that incident, but might be just considered one of those race incidents. I'm not sure.
Jared McLeod finding his way at the pointy end of the field in this one as well. Up in the top 10, getting a little bit taily. Harris with Walton behind him. Walton late in the brakes, pinches the left, nearly tags him through turn 13. These guys have been doing some kart racing to keep their skills sharp. But the man at the sharp end of the field is Nathan Preddy. After the break, we'll take you to the finish of this one. It's the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. The action heating up between Kim Jane and Chucky Baxter. Baxter trying to get a run up the inside. Oh, Moff, this is a fast part of the track to get it done. Cut off the third.
Couple of veterans of the V8 Ute Series going at it, but Baxter up the inside of Kim Jane at turn 11. He set that move up on the exit of turn 8, was able to get the nose up the inside and complete the pass down into turn 11. That's brought Ryle Harris into this battle as well.
Oh, Harris is just stalking the back of these guys. He's in such hot form, Ryle Harris. He already has 4 race wins to his name this season. Let's have a bit of a look up the inside, get some fresh, clean, cool air into the front of his Ford. That's had a bit of damage to the front of it this weekend. How about the lead that Nathan Pretty's opened up?
He is cruised away to a healthy margin at the moment, and look at Baxter now. He's got the rears all locked. Oh, can he hold on to it?
Drifting through turn number 2.
Magnificent bit of car control.
It would look cool, but it's cost him a spot, and it might cost him another one. Oh, throws the big safety manoeuvre, the big defensive over in front of Harris. It's going to be tight out of turn 3. Ryle Harris, he loves it when the tyres go off late on the weekend, and he's going to be all over the back of Chucky, and I think Chucky's tyres are starting to get a little bit sludgy.
Certainly Harris is definitely flying the flag for Ford this weekend. We've got 4 Commodores up the front of the field, and he have a look up the inside.
Jane's lost it going in there. He's going to bang doors with Baxter, and look at Harris. He's got to get 2 in the one corner out of turn 9. Baxter's out on the grass, and Harris, oh, what a move.
And Walton able to get past Baxter, so that means Baxter's gone from 3rd to 6th in the space of a couple of corners.
That is just awesome stuff. Banging doors through 7 and 8 and going backwards, the Sage Automotive Ute, but he's got a few laps in which to try and resurrect this. Now, Ryle Harris now, the tap out, energy. Oh, those tyres are tapping out. It's Walton with a little bit of bumping there. Moves up to 3rd position and 3rd for the weekend, so that actually knocks Stephen White off the podium, so that's pretty important.
And have a look at Jared McLeod. He's moved up to P7, so having one of the best runs he's had all year in that McMahon Ute. And look at Baxter and Walton. They're going side by side through the kink at turn 1.
Around the outside, Chucky Baxter desperate to get some spots back, trying to celebrate his weekend here where he equals Jack Elsgood, as Moff mentioned earlier. McNally's tacking onto the back as well, so Dontas joining the crew. This is an epic battle with only a handful of laps left. I wonder if Kim Jane made the right tyre call here, because he sent the fresh rubber to the back. Nathan Pretty said, I want the fresh rubber on the front because I want good turn in, not better drive, and that's the difference.
Well, so far you've got to say whatever Nathan Pretty is doing, it's the right thing to do, because he's got a healthy margin and he's clear of all this chaos further back in the pack.
Rest Bears on board, the Thirsty Camel Ute bouncing through the curves. Baxter's tyres.
He's all over the shop. The rear's gone on that Sage Commodore. And look at McLeod now, having a look up the inside through turn 10. Baxter using all the road and maybe a bit more. Might have just given the wall a bit of a kiss on the exit of turn 10 there.
The McMahon Mining Clean Group Ute slots through. Thirsty Camel Ute wanted a piece of this. It's the camel chasing the roof seal. Through the streets of Townsville, we'll have 2 laps to go. Nathan Pretty, a comfortable lead at the moment from Stephen White, who's having an absolute blinder of a weekend, and Ryle Harris.
Those 2 Commodores out the front of the field certainly are the class of the field at the moment. But this battle between McLeod, Baxter, Donis, and now Reece McNally, I don't think it's over.
I wonder if the Stratco Ute can get amongst it here, down into turn 2. He's had to drive the wheels off that thing all weekend after being sent to the rear of the field after qualifying with a fuel irregularity. Actually, everyone in his team got sent to the rear, and he's been driving like crazy to make up some points since then, because he's top 5 in the championship, desperate for a good bag of points still.
Baxter having a look at the back of McLeod. On board now with Craig Donis. Rest Bears in car through turn 5. Great part of the track here. Used a bit of curb there. Now turn 6. Have a look at Walton though. He's hanging the back out through turn 6, and Baxter having a little bit of a look into turn 7. Not far enough or close enough to get past McLeod, so putting as much pressure as he can on that McMahon ute as possible.
It's my favourite part of the weekend, the end of race number 3. Everyone's desperate for points. The tyres are going off rapidly. And Baxter, he's not done with McLeod yet. He's going to have to come from way back. Everyone locks a tyre or brake coming in. McLeod runs a little bit wide. Oh, what happened to Baxter? He was having such a good weekend, being top 5, was on the podium at one point, and he's clearly got a problem.
Yeah, so Baxter falling back through the field. Donis and McNally, they slip through, and they'll be going, thank you very much. That was an easy pass.
He's just got one more lap to hang on, the Sage Automotive Commodore, so hopefully Baxter can bring home a good bag of points still. Last lap, Nathan Pretty out front. And this is the battle that's still going on for third. Kim Jane, winner of race number 1 this weekend, chasing down Ryle Harris.
Yeah, so Kimbo showed really great speed in the first race, and things just didn't quite go his way in the reverse grid race. We saw him have that massive moment through turn 5 where he almost lost control of the car. And just doesn't look like he's had the speed in this third and final race that we saw him earlier in the weekend have.
Last half of the lap. Has Jane got any answer for Ryle Harris? We know how strong Harris is late in the weekend. Can Walton maybe get up there and still 4th away from Kim Jane? Oh, bouncing over the curbs, just trying to get any advantage he can. But here's Nathan Pretty. He says he loves racing in this category. It's still professional racing, but it's not the cutthroat industry that you get in V8 supercars. And he's going to let it all hang out. This is how you celebrate a race win nice and early.
Bit of a Tokyo drift there for the fans coming out of turn 11.
Nice and hard into turn 13, the Milwaukee Power Tools car. Nathan Nitrous Pretty, a former winner of the Bathurst 24-hour race with Gary Rogers Motorsport, and a winner once again on the streets of Townsville. Checkered flag, and how about this? The battle for 4th continues between Jane and Walton. Jane just gets there, manages to hold off Chris Walton at the line. Baxter will make it to the finish, albeit a bit further down than where he could have been had he not had those issues. Hear how he came home in the end. Great job, Stephen White. Ryle Harris, well, he was pushing it all week and managed to come home 3rd in the last race of the weekend. Jared McLeod, such a strong result for him. Cam Wilson, he's there in 12th position. Tony Longhurst maybe still harbouring some of the back pain that he had that kept him out of Darwin. So thumbs up for Nathan Pretty. Well, might he be happy, because that's his 4th race win of the season and his 2nd event win on the street circuit. So there you go. He finished the event 12 points clear of Kim Jane, and Stephen White just bumped off the podium. Kylie Kings with our race and round winner.
Well, Nathan Pretty, back where it all began. You started the year so well, and here you are again.
Yeah, look, it's exactly what we needed to do, actually. I mean, after a couple of disappointing rounds, to bounce back, it's the best way I know how. We had a very good car at the Clipsal, which was a street round, and come back here, qualify on the front, have a semi-disappointing first race, have a very good reverse grid, and then win the last one was just perfect.
To the NZ Drivers' Championship, and Nathan Pretty does move up to 2nd position, but I'm left wondering what could have been if he didn't have that engine drama in Perth. He's now 45 behind Ryle Harris, and good to see Stephen White now up inside the top 10 in the NZ Drivers' Championship. How about this for a wild moment? This is the move that got Ryle Harris on the podium. He goes up the inside of Baxter, and Jane gets 2 in the 1 corner.
Ryle Harris, what a move to put you in position there.
Yeah, obviously the boys, I can't thank Stewie and the boys enough. We had a clutch problem in race 2. They replaced the clutch. The car was literally ready 2 minutes before we had to grid up. Had a bit of pace. I love it when everyone's tyres are off and when the cars move around. And yeah, we were lucky with that move. Sort of opportunistic moment, and we took it with both hands. But you know, we're wrapped to be on the podium. We've 3 out of 4 podiums this year, and we've got a good lead in the championship still. So happy days.
Happy days for the Heyman Reese Holden as well, because Jesse Dixon for the 2nd round in a row is our SS Inductions hard charger. He passed 12 cars in race number 2. He's a rookie, and this guy's a rookie. Elliot Barber, not quite the perfect weekend for him, but he does hold on to that Rookie of the Year Yokohama honours. 406 points, and he's clear from Adam Marjoram and Jesse Dixon. What a weekend for Nathan Pretty. Pole position, a race win, and an event win. And the next time we'll see the Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All, well, there's a bit of a mid-season break as we are halfway through the year. We'll be down in Sandown in Victoria. Well, from everyone up here in Townsville, it was an awesome weekend. The troublesome Treybacks putting on one hell of a show, as we come to expect now from the Utes. So until next time, it's goodbye from the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, presented by Armour All.
Yeah.